والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أصحاب السمو، أصحاب السعادة، الأطباء، الدكاترة، العاملين في المجال الطبي، ضيوفنا الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدني ويشرفني أن أرحب بكم جميعا في أول مؤتمر طبي لشركة اليونيسيتي في سلطنة عمان، فأهلا وسهلا بالجميع. كما يسعدني ويشرفني أن أرحب بضيوفنا الكرام دكتور دان غوبلر ودكتور بنجامين بيكمان من الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية من شركة اليونيسيتي، وأيضا أرحب بالدكتورة مريم قبيلة من وزارة الصحة بسلطنة عمان، وأيضا أرحب بالدكتورة وفاء بشير من وزارة الصحة بسلطنة عمان. وأتوجه بخالص الشكر لإدارة يونيسيتي لتنظيمها لأول مؤتمر طبي في سلطنة عمان، والثاني على مستوى الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا، حيث إننا كنا ننتظره من سنوات واليوم أصبح هذا الحلم حقيقة. ضيوفنا الكرام، تسعى شركة يونيسيتي لخلق مجتمع لا يعيش فحسب، بل يعيش بصحة أفضل جسدياً ونفسياً وفكرياً. يونيسيتي هي امتداد لتلك الرؤية، حيث أن الشركة توظف البحث والابتكار لتمكين الأفراد وتعزيزهم بالمعلومات والمنتجات والخدمات التي تمكنهم من أخذ مسؤولية صحتهم ونمط حياتهم بجدية واهتمام أكبر، مع وجود 400 منتج ما بين مكملات غذائية وعناية شخصية في أكثر من 50 دولة حول العالم. يونيسيتي تجعل الحياة أفضل للجميع. اليوم سنتعرف عن كيف يمكن لمنتجات يونيسيتي أن تغير حياتنا للأفضل. اليوم نتشرف بحضور دكتور دان غوبلر، رئيس الأبحاث والعلوم بالشركة. دكتور دان أحد رواد العالم في علم الكيمياء والمواد في علم كيمياء المواد الطبيعية. كرس حياته للاستكشاف والتعرف على مركبات جديدة وصيغ كيميائية مستحدثة التي تحسن من جودة الحياة التي تحسن من جودة حياة الأفراد حول العالم. ونيابة عن يونيسيتي عمان أود أن أرحب بالدكتور دان، فليتفضل مشكورا. دكتور دان.
Thank you, Haitham. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, medical doctors, welcome. It's a delight for me to be here with you this evening. And I hope that what we talk about will empower you, will enlighten all of us to be better. The motto of our company, Unicity, is make life better. That's what we do. That's what we strive for. We strive to change and maintain human metabolic health. And I hope tonight you'll learn about who we are and about the products that we offer and about how we can work hand in hand with medical professionals who work every day to make life better. And government officials that are here, we're grateful that you're here. We hope that you will see who we are, what we stand for, and to know that we are here in the Middle East to help. We want to help maintain human metabolic health. So today I'm going to talk about who we are at Unicity. I'm going to talk about the physician's desk reference, about what that means. I'm going to talk about two of our key products that are listed in the physician's desk reference. Those products are BioSlife C and BioSlife Slim. And then I'm going to talk about the power that can happen when Unicity partners and collaborates with medical professionals and government institutions to really help change lives. So, a little bit about who we are at Unicity. What do we do? What do we stand for? Sorry, this is not working very well. Our first pillar is passion. We are passionate about science. We eat science, we sleep science, we drink science. My grandfather was a famous chemist. He studied at Berkeley, and he was a professor in Utah, and he actually was a professor here in Oman for 2 years. He helped start the biochemistry department at the University of Oman here in the late 80s, early 90s. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Oman. We're passionate about science. And this is such a beautiful country, beautiful people. We're just so delighted to be here as Unicity. The other thing about Unicity is tradition. We are a company that has been around for over 100 years. We come from Rexall Drug, the iconic American pharmaceutical company. We are basically a pharmaceutical grade company that sells nutritional supplements. But the quality standards, the clinical studies, everything is the same. We focus on innovation. For us, it's all about discovery. We are like the explorers of old that sail the scientific seas, looking for new scientific lands, new discoveries. Our products that we'll talk about tonight, you'll see, are quite different. They're not vitamin and mineral supplements. They're not something that you can find at the store. These are novel, unique, blue ocean discoveries. That's what we do here at Unicity. We have over 70 different projects in development at any given time. We launch anywhere from 10 to 20 products, new products every year. Because we love science. It's innovation, innovation, innovation. Human health is changing. Metabolism is changing. We are always on the cutting edge to develop new products. Unicity Science equals quality. It's all about the ingredients that are underneath the hood. Like a high-performance sports car, we put the finest ingredients in our products. Ingredients that help these products go figuratively 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. That's what we do. It's about what's underneath the hood. One thing that we also do is exploration. This is how we're different. Because a lot of supplement companies and even pharmaceutical companies, they're all studying the same thing. They're using the same ingredients. In supplements, they're using the same ingredients. So how are you different? It's hard. Well, what we do is we go out and we find new ingredients. I'm a natural products chemist, and so we go around the world, we study medicinal plants, we isolate compounds from plants, and we bring them to the market. Right now we're studying a plant in Polynesia that has great properties for sleep, and we are going to launch a product soon with that. We're studying a plant in Indonesia that helps with diabetes, and we hope to launch a product soon with that. We are studying several different plants here in the Middle East. Who knows desert truffles? You guys know those? You use those? Okay, we're studying the desert truffle, which is a medicinal truffle, a mushroom that grows here in the mountains of Oman and other places in the Middle East. So that's what we do. We harness the power of natural products. This was me with one of my contacts in Indonesia, studying medicinal plants. So Blue Ocean, what we do at Unicity is we patent. We hold patents on many of our products. And the products I'm going to talk about tonight are patented products. What that means is no one else in the world can have these products. That's the power that we bring to medical professionals and to our distributors. We integrate the supply chain of our products. One example of this is we do a lot with matcha green tea in Japan. We have a product called BioSlife E or Unicity Matcha. It goes by those two different names. We have our Matcha Research Institute in Japan. We also started a research institute in South America based off of yerba mate. We recently launched a product using yerba mate, a product that can help maintain healthy gene expression in the brain. A marvelous product. product. You take this product, and 10 minutes later, you feel an amazing cognitive benefit. We collaborate with the best scientists in the world. These scientists have over 500 publications each. One of these scientists, Dr. Ben Bigman, is with us tonight, and you'll hear his expertise on obesity-related metabolic disorders. Validation. Unicity science equals validation. Anybody can say their products are the best. There's thousands of companies selling nutritional supplements. Thousands. So how do you know which are good? Everybody will say, oh, we're the best. Well, it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to have 16 of your products listed in the top medical database in the world, and that's the physician's best reference. I'll talk more about the PDR in a minute. Clinical studies, that's another thing that sets us apart. We run clinical studies on every product that we develop. And we do that to make sure that the product works. And if we run a clinical study on a product that we have in development and the results aren't like we hope they'll be, then we go back to the drawing board and we redevelop, we reinvent. We run clinical studies on every continent. And we do this to show that our products work. Because one thing that I often hear is, well, your products work for Americans, but we're German and we're different. Or your products work in India, but we are from Thailand and we're different. Well, we've run clinical studies all throughout the world on our products. The products I'm going to show you tonight. And the takeaway message is that as long as your species is Homo sapien, the products work. They're effective. As a further method of validation, we write and we publish papers. This is a paper that we published on our Omega Life 3 product in collaboration with Columbia University, showing that our Omega Life 3 can help people who suffer from major depressive disorder, or MDD. Unicity Science is all about unique discoveries. We've discovered and patented a technology called our genome-ceutical technology. The ability of natural products from plants to regulate gene expression, the chemical switches in the body that turn on and off all the processes in the body. This is an example of the technology that we've incorporated, and we've developed 20 products using this technology. So we thrive on new discoveries, cutting edge. One of these new discoveries I mentioned is our yerba mate-based product that we call Unimate. A Unimate extract that is 375 times more powerful than a normal yerba mate material. A genome-ceutical product. So here at Unicity Science, we focus on the high-end products that can help medical professionals. Products that are different from other nutritional supplements, that use novel ingredients, that are patented, that are listed in the physician's desk reference, that have clinical studies behind them. These are the types of products that we deliver here at Unicity International. And that's my passion. My job as Chief Science Officer is to develop the best products in the world for human health. So we are a science-based company intent on giving people power. Now let's talk a little bit more about the physician's desk reference. A lot of people ask, what does it take to get into the physician's desk reference? Because when you look at the companies and the products that are in the physician's desk reference, most of that book is pharmaceutical companies, drug companies, pharmaceutical drugs. Big companies like these here, Merck, Lilly, Amgen, etc. But there are a few nutraceutical companies in the PDR. There are about 16 nutritional supplement companies in the PDR. And here at Unicity, we are one of those. And so, how do we get into the PDR if you're a nutritional supplement company? Well, it's difficult. There's a vetting process. The PDR just doesn't let anybody publish their products in the physician's desk reference. You have to show that you're a science-based company. You have to show that you have clinical studies behind your product. You have to show that your product is different from other products out there. If you just get your nutritional supplement from a contract manufacturer that turnkeys and sells the same product to 30 different companies, you're not going to be able to get your products in the PDR because you're not different. We are in the physician's desk reference because our products help to maintain human metabolic health, and they are different from anything else out there on the planet. And these are the 16 products that we have in the physician's desk reference. And tonight I'm going to focus on these two. I'm going to talk about BioSlife C and BioSlife Slim. These are our metabolic health insurance products. They help to insure our metabolic health. Now we're familiar with insurance, right? We insure our car, we insure our home, we have health insurance, we have life insurance. You would never go driving around the street with your car without insurance, would you? That'd be crazy, right? Well, you might say, well, I'm a good driver. I don't need insurance. Well, you might be a good driver, but things happen, right? Someone can accidentally smash into you, building material from a building fall down on your car, right? Life happens. We have these two products that are our metabolic health insurance. They help to insure our metabolic health. So, what type of company are we? I hope that you've seen that we at UMSC, we are a science-based company. But the science of what specifically? Well, we are a human metabolic health company. And we are the world leaders on the science of metabolic health. Now, what do I mean by metabolism? Metabolism is much more than digestion or fat burning, which is what a lot of people think it is. The breakdown of food, food being broken down and shuttled to parts of our body. They think that's metabolism, and that's part of it. But the true scientific chemistry definition of metabolism is simply the sum total of chemical reactions that an organism does. That's metabolism. And in the human body, we have millions of chemical reactions happening every single second. Reactions involved in cognition, vision, heart health, liver health, gut health, circulation, bone health, joint health, and many, many, many other facets. All of these come together to form the metabolism of the body. Everything working in order, in harmony. The problem, though, is there are lifestyle factors that destroy metabolism. Factors such as lack of exercise, lack of sleep, pollution, stress. Are things stressful here in Oman? You guys all seem very relaxed and happy and laid back. No stress here in Oman, right? Ha-ha, right? But these lifestyle factors destroy metabolism. And the biggest lifestyle factor? Poor diet. Poor diet is killing us, and we'll talk about that. But that's what metabolism is. I realize I use a lot of car analogies. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a car guy. Metabolism is going to be thought of like a fine-tuned sports car, where the engine, the brakes, the transmission, everything's working together to make that car go, to make it a performance machine. Well, medical professionals, you know that our body is an amazing molecular machine. All of the reactions should be working together in harmony to make us a fine-tuned sports car. The body is very complex. Millions of chemical reactions happening every single second. That's kind of a gross picture, isn't it? Yeah. So today we're talking about metabolic health. And we're talking about something that is destroying metabolic health. A disease that's spreading all around the globe. It's here in Oman. It's in the United States. It's in China, India, South America. It's on every continent. It's destroying human health. It's like a plague that's sweeping the earth, leaving no country even the beautiful country of Oman untouched. What is this that I'm talking about? Well, poor diet is a factor. Poor diet is causing this disease. The food we eat is completely different from the food our parents and certainly our grandparents ate. It's completely different. Food is a convenience now, right? It's a bother, right? We don't have time, so we have to go grab something quick and eat it. The concept that good food is medicine is being lost. In most cultures, and here in Oman, good food, traditionally, good food is medicine. It has medicinal properties. That concept is being lost. And as a result of that concept being lost, this plague, this disease I'm talking about, has been given a name. It's called metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome, a disease sweeping the earth. Now, what is this disease? How is it defined? It's taken scientists a long time to define this disease, but we think we have it. These are the 5 criteria listed here for metabolic syndrome. You can see the first one is elevated waist circumference. Okay? And in Oman, what that means is men waist greater than 90 centimeters and women greater than 80 centimeters. That's criteria number 1. Criteria number 2, high triglycerides, greater than 150 mg per deciliter or 1.7 millimoles per liter. Third criteria, low HDL. Fourth criteria, high blood pressure, and you can see the numbers here about what we define as high. And the fifth one, high fasting blood glucose levels. Those are the 5 criteria. Now, if you have 3 of the 5, you have metabolic syndrome. 3 of the 5. Some people have all 5, but you need to have at least 3. So that's interesting. What this means is that you can be skinny and thin. Like me, I'm not that thin. You can be thin, but still have metabolic syndrome. Right? So it's not just, oh, that's for fat people, right? No. Metabolic syndrome, what's going on inside? We can be damaged. So is metabolic syndrome a problem here in the Middle East? Here in beautiful Oman? Is metabolic syndrome a problem? Medical doctors, what do you think? Yes. Huge problem. And other speakers tonight will talk about this. I don't want to spend too much time here, but this is one study talking about metabolic syndrome. And what they show here is that the prevalence of metabolic syndrome is about 35%. 1 in 3 people have metabolic syndrome here in the Middle East. Here's another one here. This is specific for Oman. Paper published in 2003. They show here the prevalence of metabolic syndrome, 21%. 21%. 1 in 5. And this was published in 2003. 14 years ago. Do you think things have gotten better? No. Worse. Things have gotten worse. The thing about metabolic syndrome is it's severely underdiagnosed. In most of these studies, the scientists will readily admit that this number is conservative, that likely it's 1.5 to 2 times that number. So metabolic syndrome, maybe 40%. That's scary. Another study here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see that there's papers published. Metabolic syndrome. This one is in adolescence. We might think, well, metabolic syndrome is just for old people like me, right? It's just for us old guys. Metabolic syndrome is affecting our children. It's affecting our teenagers. In this study here in Iran, metabolic syndrome, 10% among adolescents. 10%. 1 in 10. And it's getting worse. If we look here, NCDs. This is the NCD breakdown from the World Health Organization for Kuwait. We were in Kuwait last night. You can see here, cardiovascular disease, 41%. Diabetes, 4%. You combine those, that's close to 50%. These are the hallmarks of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome responsible for 50% of all non-communicable diseases in Kuwait. Well, what about Oman? Here's the stats for Oman. Cardiovascular disease, 33%. Diabetes, 10%. You put those two together, 43%. Again, almost half of all deaths, non-communicable disease deaths here in Oman are due to metabolic syndrome. So, what do? As doctors, you know prevention is by far the best option. So, let's talk about heart health. One thing that we want to do if we want to maintain a healthy metabolism is we need to control our blood lipid levels, our cholesterol levels. Poor diet is killing us. So, what we have and what we've developed over the past 20 years is this amazing product called BioSlife C. C for cardio, heart health. C for cholesterol, because this is a product that helps to maintain healthy cholesterol levels. So, this is the description of BioSlife C listed in the physician's desk reference. It is one of the 16 products listed in the physician's desk reference. And it was actually the very first product that we listed in the PDR, because we view it to be one of the absolute most important products that people can take. The key ingredients of this product are shown here. We have a patented fiber matrix. It's a combination of 4 different fibers. And we hold 5 different patents on this fiber matrix. Other key ingredients you can see here. We have polycosanol from sugar cane. We have plant sterols, phytosterols. We have B vitamins. And we have a chrysanthemum morpholeum extract. These are the key ingredients. These key ingredients help to maintain healthy cholesterol levels in the body. Now, the way this product works practically, if you've never seen this product before, is it's a powder. It comes in single-serve packets. You take a packet, you rip it open, you pour the powder into 250 to 300 milliliters of water, you shake it up, and you drink it 10 to 15 minutes before you eat. What this product does is it then goes to work. The fiber matrix in the body is laced with calcium carbonate, which is a base. The stomach is acidic, so when base hits acid, we cause an effervescent reaction to occur. The fiber matrix expands in our stomach. It expands and it gets ready to absorb and interact with the cholesterol and the lipids from our diet. Okay? So we hold a patent, several patents, like I said, 5 patents on this product. Let's talk about how this product works. There's 4 different mechanisms for how this product works. And we hold a patent on these 4 different mechanisms. There is no other product on the planet that maintains healthy cholesterol by 4 different mechanisms. Pharmaceutical drugs like statin drugs do so. They can help with cholesterol, but they do so via 1 mechanism. There's 4 mechanisms here involved, and I want to talk about these briefly. The first is sequestering of bile acids. So as you medical doctors know, the body produces bile in the liver, and the starting material the body uses to produce bile acids is what? Do you know what the starting material is? Cholesterol. Cholesterol is the starting material. The body naturally produces cholesterol. Cholesterol is a marvelous molecule. It's used to make bile acids, it's used to make hormones, it's used in cell membrane fluidity. It has many uses. The problem is, we don't need extra cholesterol from our diet, right? There's essential vitamins and minerals we need to take for the body to function properly, but we do not need excess cholesterol. And the problem is, in the modern processed diet, we get a lot of cholesterol. So, bile acids help to break down the food. What if we could trap bile acids? Bile acids like fiber. When we take this fiber supplement, Bile Life C, what happens is the bile acids go to the fiber, and they're stuck. They're attracted to the fiber matrix, and they're absorbed by the fiber matrix. When that happens, the body needs to make more bile acids. And so it uses cholesterol to make bile acids. In the body, we always have a small pool of free cholesterol that the body has available. The problem is we don't want this pool to get too large. If it gets too large, then cholesterol will start leaking into the bloodstream. And that's when we have arterial plaquing and all these things happen. So, we need to keep this pool small. When the body is using cholesterol to continually make bile acids, that keeps this pool, this free pool of cholesterol small. Okay? So we sequester bile acids and we make cholesterol levels go down because the body's using the free cholesterol to make more bile acids. This fiber matrix also associates with cholesterol. It keeps it from going into the bloodstream based on the chemical principle of like associates with like. So when I take Bile Life C and it's in my stomach, and then I eat meat or eggs or something with cholesterol, that cholesterol goes into the stomach and it has a choice. It can either stay with the fiber matrix or it can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Blood is water, mostly. Fiber is organic. Cholesterol is organic. So what's going to happen based on like associates with like? Is the cholesterol going to stay with fiber or going to bloodstream? What do you think? Fiber. Exactly. It stays with the fiber. So it stays with the fiber, it's pushed out of the body, and as a result, cholesterol levels go down. This is a paper showing that fiber and bile acids interact with each other. The second thing we want to do is we want to inhibit absorption of cholesterol. So we have the cholesterol from our diet, it goes into our bloodstream. We want to stop that from happening. And the way that we do that is by adding phytosterols. As you can see by these beautiful chemical structures here, the chemical structure of cholesterol and phytosterols are quite similar to each other. Phytosterols are natural compounds found in plants. The cool thing about phytosterols is they go into the bloodstream and they don't plaque. No arterial plaquing at all observed. So what we do in Bile Life C is we add 600 milligrams of phytosterols. So when you take Bile Life C and then you eat your meal and you have cholesterol in there, you have cholesterol, but you also have phytosterols. And phytosterols compete with cholesterol for absorption into lipoproteins. And if you look at the chemical structure, phytosterols are actually more hydrophobic than cholesterol, which means that phytosterols are preferred to be taken up into the body. So phytosterols are like the fast track. They're in the queue. They go first. They're the VIPs. Right? So we flood the system with phytosterols, which go into the body, they don't form plaques, and the cholesterol is left behind. Beautiful, right? Competitive inhibition experiment that we're conducting. And this is a paper here. So I'm showing you papers to validate what we're doing. It's well known. The LDL reducing properties of phytosterols are well known. The third thing that we want to do in maintaining cholesterol levels is what if we could just dial down the synthesis of cholesterol in the liver. The liver makes cholesterol, but due to metabolic disbalance, our metabolism's out of whack, the body can start making lots of cholesterol. We want to turn that down just a little bit. And polycosanol, which is a natural product, you can see the structure here, it's a long-chain alcohol that's found in sugarcane, naturally occurring in sugarcane and other plants. Science has shown, like this paper, that polycosanol inhibits the first step of cholesterol biosynthesis in the body. The first step is where we have squalene, and the body epoxidizes squalene. And then we have the cascade to make cholesterol. Polycosanol slows down and inhibits this first step just a little bit. So the net result here is we turn down cholesterol production in the body by a few percentage points. Not enough to do any harm, but enough to keep cholesterol production at bay a little bit. That's the third mechanism here. And then the fourth mechanism we have involved here is upregulation of cholesterol to bile acids. Okay? So we have cholesterol, and cholesterol is a starting material to make bile acids. The first metabolite here is a 7-alpha hydroxycholesterol. There's a reaction here where cholesterol is hydroxylated. Chrysanthemum morifolium can increase that first step. So it speeds it up. So when we have chrysanthemum in this product, what we're doing is we're increasing this first step here. And now if we're increasing amounts of 7-hydroxycholesterol and cholic acid, bile acids, what that means is the free cholesterol in the body is going down. So again, we're shrinking this pool of cholesterol. The net result here is we have a fiber-based product that can maintain healthy blood lipid levels. Now I want to show you the clinical studies that we've done over the years on this product. We've conducted many clinical studies, 50 different clinical studies, all around the world on this product. In addition, we've done a large-scale study where we've had over 7,000 people take this product, and we've monitored their progress. And we'll show you that data here. The first study I want to show you, the very first one that we did, we collaborated with Stanford University. Stanford University, one of the best universities in the world. And what we showed is that our fibers, specifically guar gum and oat fiber, have the ability to lower cholesterol. So we see here baseline total cholesterol in a group of subjects, 244. After taking the guar gum used in our Biocyte C, goes down to 217. LDL, 152 to 124. Oat fiber, 152 to 142. So these products have the ability to lower total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. Some more data here. We followed that up by adding the other ingredients, the other fiber ingredients into our product, and then we ran a study with the Cleveland Clinic. And if you want to study about metabolic health, the Cleveland Clinic is one of the best clinics on the planet to do that. So what we did is we ran a double-blind, randomized crossover study with the Cleveland Clinic on our Biocyte C product. And what you find here is that you see baseline here. This is LDL cholesterol here. This is a placebo shown here. This is the treatment. This is a randomization step at 6 weeks. And you see here, when we randomize and have people start taking Biocyte C, total cholesterol levels, LDL cholesterol levels go down. Apolipoprotein B levels go down significantly as well. Tabulated data is shown here. LDL starts at 159. At the end of the experiment, goes to 145. Total cholesterol, 238 to 227. So we see big reductions here in total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. The amazing thing here, though, is if you look at HDL numbers, it's screening randomization 48. At the end of the experiment is 51. It stayed the same. And that's important because most pharmaceutical drugs, like statins, that lower total cholesterol, and they lower LDL, what do they do to HDL, usually? Medical doctors? A lot of times they lower HDL, they lower good cholesterol as well, which is not what we want. This natural product maintains HDL levels. We ran another study where we incorporated all the ingredients. So those first studies were the fiber matrix. And the Cleveland Clinic, we had the B vitamin complex in there. Now this is a study that we ran where we now have phytosterols, we have chrysanthemum, we have polycosanol. And this is the data. After 8 weeks, 25 subjects chosen. Total cholesterol after 8 weeks, down 8%. In high-risk people, down about 11%. LDL cholesterol, total, down 5%. In high-risk people with LDL over 160, down 31%. 8 weeks, 31%. HDL cholesterol, so again we see it stays the same or goes up. So we start here, baseline, 48, after 8 weeks, 52. In high-risk people, where it was low, started at 32, goes up to 37 after 8 weeks. Triglycerides, change here, lowered by 6%. High-risk people, 15%. That's in 8 weeks. Marvelous results here. This product helps maintain metabolic health. Now in this study, we did not make any other changes to diet or exercise, which as you know are critical. Those things were kept constant. The big differentiator here, what changed, is taking BioSlife C. We did a study in the Philippines with BioSlife C. And this is an LDL distribution study. Basically, what you want to see here, what's important to know is gray is bad, purple is okay, and black, this should be black, sorry, or the darker purple is good. What we see here is that we took a group of subjects at the beginning, their LDL distribution was bad, used BioSlife C for 4 weeks, and again, we see desirable levels of LDL. The distribution completely changes in 4 weeks. We did a study in Guam. Guam has one of the worst cholesterol levels on the planet. And that's because their diet in Guam, you know what people eat in Guam? I lived in Guam for a year with these people, studying metabolic health. They eat fruit bats. That's a staple of their diet. Fruit bats are really high in cholesterol. So the people of Guam, super high cholesterol. And what we did is we saw that our products helped to lower cholesterol, LDL cholesterol by 25% and raise HDL cholesterol by 12%. We did an interesting study here because there was a group of people that were already taking statin drugs. So they were taking statin drugs, and even on a statin, their LDL was still 150. Okay? And these people took BioSlife C for 8 weeks, and after 8 weeks, the average LDL then went from 150 to 118, a change of 21%. And these are people that are already taking statin drugs. So, what we show here is that BioSlife C is an additional. It works via different mechanisms than statin drugs, and doctors can use it in addition to statin drugs to help. We have medical doctors all around the world that use our natural-based products like BioSlife C to help their patients. And most doctors, if you give a patient a choice, I'm going to give you a pharmaceutical drug, or you can try this natural product-based supplement first. What will most people choose? They'll go for the natural product-based supplement first. And a lot of medical doctors around the world that partner with us have success using this model. So we collaborated with the University of Utah, which is just 30 minutes up the road from where our science headquarters is in Utah, to look at not just LDL-C, but the particle size, LDL-P. That's important as well. Because there's a lot of products or a lot of treatments that will have an effect on lowering LDL-C, but LDL-P doesn't change. We collaborated with Paul Hopkins and his group at the University of Utah to show that not only does LDL-C go down after 6 weeks, but LDL-P does as well. So, I hope that I've shown you that BioSlife C is one of the world's premier human metabolic health products. A product that can help maintain healthy blood lipid levels. LDL down, total cholesterol down, triglycerides down, HDL up. Okay? But what about the one of the other real killers? High blood glucose levels. The modern processed diet is full of sugar. So it was interesting. I was with my family on vacation recently, and we toured a castle in Europe. And we were walking through the different areas, and we walked into the kitchen. And this kitchen has been remodeled many times, right? But there was this little safe in the kitchen. It was a safe, and it had a lock and a key on it. And I asked the tour guide, what do they keep in this little safe in the kitchen? That's kind of weird. You're not going to put your jewelry in the kitchen, right? And the tour guide said, well, this was installed in the 1800s, and that's where they kept the sugar. Yes, that's where they kept the sugar. Sugar was a commodity. It was high priced. It was used for special occasion. They would cook with sugar just a few times a year. It was kept under lock and key. How different is that today? Sugar's everywhere. It's dirt cheap, right? It's cheaper to buy a drink with 40 grams of sugar than it is to buy water. Right? Things have totally changed. Sugar's in everything. And as a result, it is destroying metabolic health. So what should we do? Stop eating sugar. Can we do that? Well, we can. We can try. It's hard. Let's just stop eating sugar right now. All of us. Raise your hand. Okay, we're some brave souls. Some of us are like, Well, we need help, right? That's where science-based supplementation comes in. We need products that help us to get to the top of the mountain. So what if there was a product that could help maintain healthy blood sugar levels? Because when we eat something rich in sugar, glucose goes like this, right? And what does insulin do? Rises to meet it. And we'll hear more about insulin from one of the world experts on insulin here in a few minutes. But what if there was something that could help us? A product that we could take, that when we eat something rich in sugar, instead of our glucose doing this, it would do something like that. It would flatten the curve, attenuate it. That'd be a great product, right? Well, that's what we've developed here in our BioSlife Slim. What did I do? Okay. In our BioSlife Slim product, a product that can help maintain healthy blood glucose levels. Now, diabetes is a huge problem in the Middle East. Other speakers will address this. I'm not going to go through this, but the percentage in the Middle East of diabetes ranges anywhere from 10% to 30%. And maybe even higher. Yeah, higher. So, this is all great stuff, and if you want these references, I'd be happy to send it to you. But we all know diabetes is a problem. The real thing I want to talk about with you today is BioSlife Slim, a product designed to help maintain healthy blood glucose levels. Because if you can maintain healthy blood glucose levels, most aspects of metabolic health fall right in line and into place. This is one of the biggest issues that we face today. So this product is similar to BioSlife C that maintains healthy cholesterol levels, but we redesigned this formula. It's also listed in the PDR. We also hold patents, 4 or 5 patents on this product. What we've done is we've redesigned the fiber matrix. We've taken BioSlife C and we've redesigned things so that now BioSlife Slim is a glucose-eating machine. Okay, when you take this product, same thing, it's a powder, you mix it up, you take it 15 minutes before you eat, and this product helps to absorb glucose like a sponge. like a sponge absorbs water, this product absorbs glucose, holds onto it, and it prevents it from getting into the bloodstream. And when you do that, my friends, marvelous things in human physiology happen. How does this work? We've designed this fiber matrix based on the chemical principle of like associates with like, right? Compounds with similar structure hang out together. They love each other, right? You learn that in chemistry. So we have designed a fiber matrix that is just so irresistible to glucose that glucose just can't help itself. It just loves that fiber matrix. And it binds to the fiber matrix and won't let go. So when we take our BioSlice Slim and then we take food that, just naturally has sugar in it, that sugar from our food, from our diet, is absorbed by the fiber matrix. So it stays in the stomach, it's pushed out of the system, and as a result, it does not enter the bloodstream. Now that sounds good in theory, right? That's a great story. But does it really work that way? Well, we run clinical studies on all our products. We don't just think it works, or hope it works, or pray it'll work. We run clinical studies to validate that it works. And so we collaborated with the University of Sydney. And we did studies where we looked at glycemic impact, change in plasma glucose, by using BioSlice Slim. So we see our curves here. And I apologize for the coloring here. But this top curve is what happens when you give the body straight glucose. You see glucose peaks at 30 minutes and then goes down. If you give a food that's rich in glucose to someone like white bread that's rich in starch, that's this yellow curve. Again, it goes up, peaks at 30 minutes, and then goes down. If you do the same thing, where you give the person the same bread that you gave them before, but you give them 15 minutes before they eat that bread, BioSlice Slim, now look what happens. That's this blue curve here. You see a 20% reduction in the GI response. 2 doses, you see a 28% reduction. So notice that this curve is smaller, it's flatter, it's spread out. Now, if you take the area underneath these curves, there's actually reduced area under the BioSlice Slim curves, which provides evidence to our working mechanism that the sugar from our diet, a lot of it is actually trapped here in the fiber matrix and pushed out of the body. It never touches the bloodstream. Marvelous mechanism here. Marvelous results. So we showed this with white bread. We conducted this on 10 or 12 different starchy foods. You see here mashed potatoes, another starchy food. Glucose curve, red. Potatoes in yellow. You see that's almost as bad as the glucose here. When we take BioSlice Slim, 1 or 2 doses, again, a 17 to 20% reduction in GI response. Now, Dr. Bickman will talk about insulin and all the things that happen there. But the important thing for us to note is we are reducing glucose load. We're reducing then the amount of insulin that has to be secreted around. And when we do that day in and day out for the rest of our lives, marvelous things happen. So these are amazing products. We ran other studies. We ran a study with diabetes in a group called Diabetes in Control. This is an NGO in the U.S. And a 12-week study showing that pre-prenatal glucose levels baseline 150, after 12 weeks 125. Change of 17%. HbA1c 9.2 to 7.8, 15% change. We ran a larger study with them, 78 person study, 90 days. We tested for lipid levels, but let's look at glucose. So preprenatal glucose 173 to 156, change of 10%. Postprenatal glucose, change of 15%. HbA1c 9 to 8.1, change of 10%. And weight, yes, some weight loss. Okay? Because weight loss is a side effect of bringing our metabolism back into balance. So people taking BioSlife C and people taking BioSlife Slim, BioSlife S, see a reduction in their weight. And that's because we're helping to bring metabolism back into balance. Not a yo-yo diet, not starving the body, not putting a Band-Aid on things, but we're bringing the body back into balance. And when you do that, weight loss naturally occurs. We ran another study in Texas where we show here that glucose levels, fasting blood glucose, goes down 17% after 8 weeks. HbA1c in all subjects down about 10%, high-risk people down 16%. So medical doctors, think of the patients that you see in your clinic. Think of people who have problems with this. And think how this type of a product, an intervention product, can be of assistance to you. Government officials, think of the metabolic health crisis that's here in Oman, that's in the world. Think of what would happen if people day in and day out were taking a product like this. Now, a lot of people tell me, well, I don't have high cholesterol, and I don't have diabetes, so I don't need to take products like this. What would you say to them?
Protection.
Prevention is better than treatment. Prevention, prevention, prevention. And what I tell them is, you're right. You don't have high cholesterol yet. Right? You don't have diabetes yet.
Insurance.
It's our metabolic health insurance. Prevention. Prevention, prevention, prevention. That's what you doctors preach. Lifestyle change, right? Statin pharmaceutical drugs are just Band-Aids. They're stopgaps. They're not the end-all be-all. They're marvelous, yes. But there's a better way. The better way is prevention. And science-based supplementation, like BioSlife C and BioSlife S, BioSlife Slim, are the best preventative tools that we have on the planet. On cue, these are our metabolic health insurance products. And weight loss is a side effect. So some people might say, well, if I take BioSlife S, which we also call Slim, am I going to get so skinny that I'm going to disappear? No. These are metabolic balancing products, right? And so if we are metabolically unhealthy and our weight is here, and we start to maintain a healthy metabolism, change our metabolism, what happens to our weight? Start to go down. But what happens once our metabolism is in balance? What happens to our weight? Maintain, right? So we maintain our weight. So, in conclusion, a few concluding remarks. We live in a difficult world today, right? It'd be great if we all stopped eating sugar right now, right? Stop eating added sugar. That'd be great, right? We could change our diet immediately. But practically speaking, that's hard, right? To tell the whole population of Oman to start changing their diet right now, that's hard. And that's where supplementation comes in, because getting to the top of our mountain of health is like climbing a high mountain, like the high mountains here in Oman. Some of those mountains are very difficult to climb. They're very technical, right? You don't just wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm going to climb this tall mountain, right? You need help. You need tools to help you get to the top. You need to guide. Here at University Science, we work with medical doctors to provide the tools to help us get to the top of our metabolic mountain of health. And those tools, I've shown you two of them today, BioSlife C and BioSlife Slim. Our passion as scientists is the same as your passion as medical professionals and government officials. We want to change the world. That's why I do what I do. I wake up every morning excited charged, ready to go change the world. And we have the products that can help do that. I hope that I've shown you studies that have convinced you. This is not just hearsay. This is not just rumor. This is not propaganda or marketing. This is hard science showing that our products work. Now, I didn't show this, but we've ran a study on 7,000 subjects. 7,000 subjects. 7,000 subjects taking Bioscience C, 7,000 subjects taking Bioscience Slim over the years. And these results hold up, right? These clinical studies that I've shown of 20 people, 40 people, 70 people, they hold up when you use 7,000 people. Total cholesterol down 15%. Triglycerides down 20%. LDL cholesterol down 10%. HDL cholesterol up 2 to 5%. Fasting blood glucose levels down 10%. HbA1c down 10 to 15%. Amazing products here. And we love to work with doctors. We are the world leaders on the science of metabolic health. We love to empower people. That's our job, developing cutting-edge blue ocean products to help people. And we love collaborating with doctors. The slogan of our company is Make Life Better. And doctors, that's what you do every day. Government officials, you enact policies, regulations to help make life better. And our greatest desire is to collaborate with like-minded people. We want to collaborate with you. We want to work with you. If you want to run a clinical study with us, we're open to that. Contact me. We want to work together to change metabolic health here in Oman, to fight against this plague, this storm that's sweeping the earth, leaving no country, no people untouched. We're here to stay in Oman. We're here to help. We're a science-based company. We love what we do, and we have tools that can help us. So thank you so much for listening.
أود أن أوجه الشكر الجزيل للدكتور دان جوبلر رئيس مختبرات العلوم في يونيفرسيتي العالمية. بالفعل معلومات جدا مثرية.
A very big thank you to Dr. Dan Gubler for these amazing information, and I'm sure everyone has benefited from that.
ونود أيضا أن ننوه بأن جميع تساؤلاتكم مرحب بها، والدكتور دان جوبلر سيكون سعيد بالرد عليها إن شاء الله، ولكن يفضل أن تكتبوا هذه الأسئلة في ورقة وسيتم تجميع هذه الأوراق منكم والرد عليها في فقرة الأسئلة.
Please note that there is a Q&A session at the end of this evening. So your questions are welcomed. You can write your questions and they will be collected and answered by Dr. Dan Gubler himself at the very end of this evening.
أما الآن ستشاركنا الدكتورة طبيبة الأطفال وفاء أحمد بشير بمعرفتها وعلمها في تأثير عمليات الأيض في السم.
Dr. Wafa Ahmed will now share her knowledge on metabolism and obesity that are affecting the world. Please give her a big welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. I'll try to talk English, but if there is a problem, I might translate for someone. So I will go back to basics. I'll talk about metabolism and then we'll go ahead and talk about obesity. So what is metabolism? If we define metabolism as describing the chemical processes that occur inside our body to keep us alive and also to our organs working properly. And it will it has three components to it. We have a resting metabolic rate. That resting metabolic rate, actually, it is the amount of energy we needed to sustain our vital function like breathing. And this will account for almost 60% to 75% of our total daily energy needs. And there is also a component called a thermic effect of feeding. When we eat, actually, our food generates heat, and this accounts for 5 to 15% of overall metabolic rate. Physical activity also accounts for our metabolic rate, and it depends on the type of activity we are doing. So there is a structured activity, like if you're going to the gym, and if you're doing cardio or doing resistance training. This accounts for your activity almost like for your metabolic rate of 50%, but also the non-structured activities such as when you are walking from your car to the supermarket, to your office, when you are climbing stairs, this also generates energy, and that accounts almost for 15%. Basically, we have an equilibrium between two processes going on in the cell metabolism. We have a catabolism and anabolism. The catabolism, you are breaking down, when we eat food, you break it down to smaller molecules, and then you release energy. This energy you need it, actually, for this, with the smaller molecules, to go again and build up to other tissues. And it's like a circle, and it's going into equilibrium. Do you know that all of us, we are born and inherited with different types of metabolism. So whatever I eat, somebody else can eat the same amount, but he can go, he become fatter, and I'll be the same weight. Some people eating a lot and they don't gain any weight because it depends on their metabolic typing. So either you are a metabolic type A, which is you are a fast oxidizer. That means whenever you eat a carbohydrate diet, your sugar goes quickly up, and then you have an excess of it. You don't, and you lose your. There is no energy there, so you release a high amount of insulin. This is a high amount of insulin and a surge of glucose, which will be deposited in your fat cells, and you become very fatigued, and you become you have a carb craving, and this will promote fat storage. That's why in type A you have a voracious appetite, you crave for fatty and salty foods, and you feel anxious and fatigued easily because of your surge of glucose and then going down. You are, personality-wise, you are more talkative, you are outgoing, and if you want to balance your metabolism, and if you are a type A, so you should have actually more of the protein and the fat, because that will slow your metabolism and will bring you into equilibrium, and you have some of the good carbohydrates. And also you have to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. If you are a slow oxidizer, that means if you eat protein and fat, that will make it slower. So here, what you have a weak appetite, you crave mainly for sweets because you are not getting enough surge from your carbohydrates, so that's why you crave all the time for sweets. You are, personality-wise, you are sensitive and ambitious, you are organized, but you are getting stressed very, very easily, and you struggle with your weight. When you want to balance your metabolism, you have to have more of the good carbohydrates because you want to boost your metabolism and a little bit of your protein and fats. You are usually a type B metabolic people are, they love caffeine and they love coffee and tea. So this will make you also, will affect your metabolism. So better to cut down on your caffeine and drink your tea or some other drinks. And type C, metabolic type, you have a mixed oxidizer. That means you have a balance between either you have a good appetite or a low appetite. You might crave for sweets and salty foods, and you get fatigued easily. You're anxious because your autonomic system is working very badly, and you're nervous. You might suffer also from aches and pains, but you don't have any problem with your weight. So when you want to eat, you just have to balance everything together. So you have enough of the protein, enough of the fats, and enough of the carb. So when I actually learned this, I want just to thank Unicity. When I joined them, I have trouble with my metabolism. So after taking the supplements, I discovered really which type I am, and I'm trying to really go for my, to balance my diet. Because if you balance your diet, you feel better, you feel happier, and you feel younger. I want to talk about when we see a mountain, we have like a big problem in the world, not only in Oman, but it's affecting the whole world. And we see it, but actually we do a lot of integration, but we cannot reach to the conclusion or reach to a solution. So I'm going to talk about obesity. Obesity actually is having excess body fat. And there is an imbalance between what you are taking in and what you are getting, your energy expenditure, what you are getting out. So there is a meaning of some people, they are interchanging obesity with overweight. But the overweight means that you're having an increased weight maybe from muscles because you are bulky, or you have a big bone, or you have fat, or you have water, but you are not obese. So don't mix up between obesity and overweight. Both terms mean the person's weight is greater than what they consider healthy for their own height. And how are we measuring the obesity? How we say this is an obese person? There is a WHO classification of obesity based on body mass index, which is like your weight in kilogram divided by your height in meter square. So they classified according to the body weight index. So if you are overweight, that means you are more than 25. Anything more than 25, you're asking for trouble. You are asking for getting a disease that is very, very difficult to control. The alarming and shocking news, if you see, actually, majority of the Middle East, they have a body mass index more than 25. And this is actually a statistics from WHO in 2014, and this is in female age 18 years and old. That means we are now in 2017, and maybe the incidence and it's coming higher. I'm not going to talk about the statistics. Dr. Mariam is going to go into detail about these statistics. But really, it is very alarming. What causes obesity? Some percentage goes to genetics, yes. Some people, they have prone to be obese because they have a genetic makeup. But majority of the causes are environmental. This is the lifestyle. What we used to be in the past, our families used to have farms, and they would be farming and gardening, and earlier also people, they hunt, so they run. They have to live for to run for their food, so they will be having lean bodies. So there is no obesity whatsoever. But at the moment, with this current lifestyle, our children are actually becoming very obese because they are sitting only in front of the computers. They are not moving a lot, and our setup altogether in all our institution is only sitting, there is no movement. So that's the causes, mainly the causes of physical inactivity and the dietary habits, because we used to eat a lot of natural food and vegetable and fruits, but nowadays, even if we are taking a lot of fruits and vegetables, but the soils, actually the pollution in the air and the water and the soil, there are deficiencies. So even you think that you are taking orally well, but it's not. Actually, the dietary habits are also, and taking, of course, the junk food makes you obese. What is the effect? Actually, the effects, you might get an insulin-resistant type 2 diabetes, you can get cardiovascular diseases, you have obstructive sleep apnea, and you might have a psychosocial problem. This is really a problem. And there is on the top of that, the government, it is like a big burden on the government financially and also psychosocially. How to manage it? General management, you need for public policies. My colleague, she's going to talk about it in details. A specific management. You have to have a food choice for your to be to make sure like you are taking appropriate diet. Supplements are very, very important because of what's going on around us and with the pollution around us. We need to have a supplement because whatever we take from our food, it's not really all the micronutrients are very deficient. So we have to take supplements. We do have to exercise. People has to move around. As I said previously, there is structured and there is non-structured exercise. So you have to move around. So that also will manage your obesity and to change your behavior. In Unicity, there is a program, transformation program. I think if people are willing to embark on such tool, it will help actually to reduce the obesity in Oman. I just want to talk about a biological marker in obesity, which is one of the recent biological marker is known, that leptin. Leptin is a hormone produced in our fat cell, and it's derived from the Greek word called leptos, which meaning is thin. A person is thin. It's discovered in the late 20th century, and it regulates our body energy, homeostasis, food intake, storage and expenditure, and fertility and immune function. What happens actually, when we eat, we deposit our food into our fat cell. Our fat cell produces leptin. Leptin sends signals to our hypothalamus, this is a gland in our brain, and this will tell us that, okay, stop eating. If this process is going right, you will not gain weight because there is always a signal telling you, stop eating. The problem happens when there is a disruption of the signal. What happens? You eat, your fat gets stored, and then the fat cell secretes more leptin. The brain sees there is leptin increased if it is going normally. But if there is a disruption, like here, then this increased leptin is not being seen by the brain. So you feel hungry, you will crave for food, you'll eat more. Your brain is starving, but your body is not, because you don't have any signal to say to your body, stop eating. So the potential causes for such resistance is inflammation, elevated free fatty acids in the serum, and high leptin levels. All three are increased in obesity. How to overcome this? This is just a recap about leptin and weight gain. As I said, the weight gain as you eat, gain more fat mass, the number of the fat cells increase, as do the leptin levels, and then this fat stores actually goes into disrupted signal, and then you have overeating, and then you have caloric intake, and you gain weight. How to make sure reversing the leptin resistance. The main thing is to avoid any food that causes inflammation and increase your soluble fiber intake. Eat more protein and lower triglyceride level, and consume more carotenoid and flavonoids found in the fruits and vegetables. Include your omega-3 and magnesium in your diet. Be more active and sleep well. All of this actually, you can find it in Unicity products, and it can help you with your leptin resistance. In summary, food is the main fuel for our metabolism. It can be either a poison to us or can be a cure to us. You have to choose your right food for your metabolic type. Obesity is #1 world health problem with dangerous comorbidities. The biology of hunger and satiety or of satiety control can improve by our understanding of to weight gain, and the management of obesity is possible through behavioral changes of the individual and collaboration of various sectors in the society. Thank you very much.
الشكر الجزيل لدكتورة وفاء على معلوماتها الممتازة. الآن سنتناول موضوع الأرقام والإحصائيات عن الأمراض الغير معدية في السلطنة. راح يقدم الموضوع الدكتورة مريم طويلة، طبيبة أسنان هنا وعاملة أيضا وتعمل في وزارة الصحة.
And now we will look at numbers and statistics on the non-communicable diseases here in Oman. Talking about this is Dr. Maryam Tbela, a dentist and also working with the Ministry of Health in Oman. Please welcome Dr. Maryam Tbela.
السلام عليكم. كيف الهمة؟ عالية. مش سامعة؟ عالية. احكي لكم صح انه احنا هلا قاعدين بجلسة طبية وعلمية، بس حابة احكي شغلة من قلبي لانه معظم اللي قاعدين هون اكيد كم دكتور هون؟ كم حدا من الميديكال بروفيشنالز هون؟ نيرسز، نوتريشنست، دنتست. طيب اوكي، معناته كثير من الاشياء اللي رح احكيها بالنسبه للاحصائيات تعرفوها. طبعا انا كاتبه البرزنتيشن بالعربي بالانجليزي، بس اجت طلبيات اني اعمل البرزنتيشن بالعربي، فبدكم تعذروني اذا تفلت مني كلمتين بالانجليزي ولا هيك. مسموحه؟ بدايه اللي على بالي احكيه انه انا كثير مبسوطه لاني موجود اليوم بينكم ومعكم. اليوم غير عن اي يوم. اليوم بالنسبه لي كثير حلو لسبب واحد فقط، انه واحد من احد احلامي عم بيتحقق حاليا قدامي. شو هو؟ انه بقاعه واحده فقط موجود فيها العالم اللي بحبها، والعالم اللي تركت بحياتي بصمه، والعالم اللي صار لي سنه ونص عم بحاول اني اتعاون معها عشان نحل مشكله واحده. وبعد سنة ونص تحقق هذا الحلم، وبالانجليزي راح احكي and thank you Dr. Dan for coming and supporting us for this mission. سقف للدكتور دان كليني. اللي بدي احكيه انه اللي راح اعرض لكم اياه هي الاحصائيات اللي كبرت عندي حس المسؤوليه بالمجتمع. بس من باب الامتنان لهاي البلد اللي احتضننا جميعا واعطانا كثير، ومع ذلك مش عم نتحمل مسؤولية ندير بالنا على صحتنا، مش على صحة حدا تاني. فأنا هون اليوم عشان أرجع أذكر حالي قبلكم إنه كل واحد قاعد بهاي الجلسة اليوم بيقدر يكون سبب إنه ينقذ ناس بحبها. جاهزين؟ أوكي. يونيسيتي بالنسبة لي كانت سبب من الأسباب اللي غيرت بحياتي، ولأنها غيرت بحياتي بطريقة صحية وفكريا وروحيا، فحسيت إنه من أقل شيء بقدر أعمله إني أجي أشارك هذا الجمع الحلو بالأشياء اللي ضافت لنا إياها يونيفرسيتي إحنا كفريق الأحلام، ورح أقول لكم مين فريق الأحلام بعد شوي. فنركز شوي على الإحصائيات عشان تشوفوا إنه المشكلة عم بتدق على بابنا إذا لسه ما دقت أصلاً. أوكي؟ السؤال: Is metabolic syndrome a problem in عمان؟ يعني هل الأمراض اللي لها دخل بالعملية الأرضية مشكلة بعمان؟ منيح. هلا بتشوفوا قد ايه هي مشكلة. طبعا وجودي هون للأسباب التالية: أرجع أذكر بالإحصائيات، أورجيكم قد ايه قريب المشكلة من بيوتنا، كيف المشكلة لكل مشكلة لها حل، ومن كل رحم ألم يولد أمل، وكيف إحنا بنقدر نعمل أشياء تساعدنا على أن نحسن صحتنا، وبالآخر كيف ممكن نتعاون مع بعض كأفراد وكأخصائيين وكشركة يونيفرسيتي إنه نحل هاي المشكلة بالبلد. جاهزين؟ مش سامعة، ما في طاقة. هيك دريم تيم بدي طاقة. فإن هاي بطيئة شوي. بآخر الجلسة بدنا نحكي عن how to collaborate to activate mass awareness. طبعا كيف نتعاون عشان نزيد التوعية بالمجتمع، وهذا الاشي يونيفرسيتي ماشية فيه من مئات السنين واحنا ما كنا عم نعرف. وهي احد الايفنتس اللي بتصير عالميا، اوكي، فيها توعية صحية خرافية. انا كدكتورة لما كنت احضر هاي المؤتمرات انصدمت بالمعلومات اللي كنت عم بسمعها، واللي المفروض انا كطبيبة، وفي كثير منهم زملائي الاطباء راحوا معي، اوكي، انصدمنا انه ما بنعرفها، وهي اساسيات الحياة، اساسيات كثير بسيطة بتنقذ ملايين. فرب كلمة بحكيها اليوم تنقذ أمي. فشو الوضع بعمان يا جماعة؟ سوري بس هاي شوي بطيئة، عم تاخذ من وقتي. طبعا أنا حافظة السلايد بس الدكاترة ما بيقتنعوا إلا بالسلايدات. أوكي. هاي الريسيرشز، أحد الريسيرشز اللي استعنت فيها عشان أورجيكم حجم المشكلة من أطباء الله يرضى عليهم ويبارك بجهودهم، عملوها كدراسات إما برسالة من بجامعاتهم أو إحصائيات لوزارة الصحة. منهم دكتور جواد علي اللواتر، ومنهم دكتور باسم، ومنهم كمان WHO بالتعاون مع وزارة الصحة. الإحصائيات اللي رح أحكيها هي مو أرقام على ورق، أوكي؟ هي مش بس أرقام، هاي عالم عم بتعاني، أوكي؟ ب 1999 سوت إحصائية وزارة الصحة من 1999 ل 2015 النتائج مريعة، أوكي؟ عم بيقول إنه 1999 كان في عندنا كيسز إلها دخل بالسكري، إلها دخل بالضغط، إلها دخل بالكوليسترول، وإلها دخل بالوزن الزايد، وإلها دخل بالأوبيسيتي، أوكي؟ اللي صار إنه كانت نسبة البلود بريشر يعني الضغط كثير أعلى، والمشكلة المعضلة اللي كانت موجودة بعمان ب 1999 اللي هو زيادة الكوليسترول، أكثر من 40% من المجتمع كان عم بيعاني، يعني بطريقة مبسطة من كل 100 كان في 40 عم بيعانوا من كوليسترول، يعني لازم ياخذوا أدوية. طب بال 2008 رجعت عملت إحصائية ثانية، طلعوا التغيير اللي صار، الكوليسترول نزل شوي بس لسه الإحصائية فيها عالية، ونسبة الأوفر ويت أند أوبيسيتي يعني السمنة والوزن الزايد صار بأكثر من 50% من المجتمع. احنا بس قاعدين عم نحكي عن كم سنة وصارت هاي الإحصائية، لما بنحكي ب 50% مو برضه عم نرجع بعيد، هدول ال 50% اللي اجوا على المراكز الصحية وعلى المستشفى اللي قسناهم، ففي ناس لسه ما بنعرف عنهم. فلما عم نحكي عن نص المجتمع عم بيعاني من معضلة اسمها السمنة، مو عشان شكله مو حلو، عشان الآثار الجانبية اللي عم بتصير بسبب السمنة، ضغط، كوليسترول، أمراض قلب. وهذا بيثبت كلامي وهذا الحكي بيثبت بالإحصائيات اللي اجت بعدين. انه سوري هاي عم تتفربط. ب 2016 يعني حاليا طلعت هاي التصاريح بتحكي يا جماعه احنا حطينا عيادات سكري دايابيتيز بكل مركز صحي، صرفنا بلاوي 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 على التوعيه، حطينا كثير مشاريع صغيره لتوعيه المجتمع، عم نحط اخصائي تغذيه بكل مكان، ومع ذلك 2016 بيطلع تصريح انه السمنه زادت بالمجتمع، ومو بس عند الكبار وانما عند الفئات العمريه الصغيره. يعني اذا في اب وام هلا قاعدين معنا يعرفوا انه هم السبب في قتل بطيء لاولادهم. احنا مسؤولين، احنا مسؤولين، لانه ما عم نغلب حالنا، نقرا بس ابني بده شوكولاته، اوكي حبيبي من قد ما بحبك كثير كثير بحبك بدي اكافئك اعطيك شوكولاته، عم بسممك انا بس كثير بحبك. مو مشكله طعميه شوكولاته بس ما يصير ترند، ما يصير ماكدونالدز هو المكافاه، ما يصير الفاست فود هو الحل لانك تكرم ابنك. اكرامه انك تحييه حياه صحيه، احرمه هلا عشان يعيش بعدين صحه وعافيه. فنبنى بذاتنا. في تصريح ثاني كمان للدكتوره منى عم بتقول انه نسبة السكري عم بتزيد، بس نسبة السكري عم بتزيد بسبب نسبة السمنة اللي عم بتزيد بالفئات العمرية الصغيرة، فمعناته السمنة مش هي المشكلة بحد ذاتها، انما الكومبليكيشنز اللي عم بتصير بسبب السمنة. واللي أسوأ واللي أدهى والأمر من كل هذا انه كمان عم بتزيد عنا نسبة السرطان بالبلد بسبب السمنة، والدراسات أثبتت انه معظم الحالات اللي عم بيزيد فيها مخاطر الكانسر هي الناس اللي عندها سمنه وسكري. اللي بده الاحصائيات او الدراسات ممكن يجي بعدين يحكي معي. الوزير كثير قلقان، طول النهار عم يطلع تصاريح يا جماعه المجتمع عم بيعاني، المجتمع عم بيعاني. احصائيات من الناشونال انيمال ستاتستكس اللي هم الاحصائيات الدوليه، جبتها من قسم التغذية اللي هم سووا دراسة على الأطفال بالمدارس ما بين عمر 13 و 17. شوفوا الإحصائية، ب 2004 كانت السمنة قليلة بالأطفال، 2009 شايفين الجمب؟ شايفينها؟ شو الدراسات أثبتت؟ شو السبب؟ شو بتخيلكم السبب هذا الجمب صار؟ الأولاد بطلوا يتحركوا طول الوقت على الآيباد وعلى الآيفون، وكل أب بده يكرم ابنه بيروح بيجيب له آيباد وآيفون وبيقعدوا طول الوقت بالبيت ما بيطلعوا حتى برا بالحارة يركضوا يلعب، أو إنه عم بياكل أكل مش صحي لأنه أصلاً الأهل ما عم بياكلوا أكل مش صحي، لأنه الأهل مش عم بياكلوا أكل صحي. هاي نفس الإحصائيات عم بتقول إنه نسبة البنات كثير أعلى من الشباب اللي ناصحة بالمدارس. صبايا ديروا بالكم على بناتكم وأولادكم. بهذا الحكي شو بيرجع بيثبت؟ انه بما انه السمنه عم بتزيد والسكري عم بيزيد من 1999 لعند 2013 الكانسر ريجستري بتشوف فيها تطور الكانسر بالبلد. زمان ب 1999 كانت اكثر شغله عاليه بالمجتمع عند الرجال اللي هي سرطان المعده، عند الستات اللي هو الثدي. مع تغير الحياة ومع تغير نمط الحياة والغذاء، وب 2009 زادت كثير المحلات والمطاعم اللي كلها فاست فود، صار عندنا تغير بالإحصائيات. ب 2005 مع إنه الكولون كانسر ما كان موجود بتاتا ولا حالة كانت بعمان، ب 2005 صار من التوب 10. تعرفوا الكولون؟ كولون؟ اوكي الكولون صار توب 10. شوفوا شو صار 2013 2012 صار توب 3. احنا عم نحكي عن نسبة انه بكل بيت في خطورة انه واحد يموت من كولون كانسر بسبب شغله بايده. شايفين حجم المشكلة اللي عم بحكي فيها؟ لاحظتوا قد ايه قريبة من بيتنا؟ مش سامعة. فبالاحصائية الأخيرة اللي ب 2000 اللي هي ما بين دراسة ما بين وزارة الصحة وال WHO إنه صار عندنا حالات بالمستشفى من 2010 ل 2015 إنه أمراض القلب زادت والكانسر زاد. أمراض القلب صار 30% عم بيموتوا بالمستشفيات بسبب أمراض القلب اللي هو له دخل بالغذاء الغير صحي، والكانسر صار السبب الثالث اللي هو عم بيموت الناس بهاي البلد. فالإحصائيات مريعة. الدراسات أثبتت إنه في كثير أكثر من سبب، لها دخل بالبيئة، لها دخل بالغذاء، إنه حتى اللي بيجي بيحكي لك أنا باكل كثير صحي، أنا باكل سلطة، أنا باكل خضار، أنا باكل أنا منيح، أنا ما مالي ولا شيء، بس الدراسات أثبتت واللي حابب يقرأ بهاي الريسيرش موجودة أونلاين بالتفاصيل عم تحكي إنه إحنا معرضين لسموم يوميا من سوء الماء، من سوء البستيسيدز والانسكتيسيدز اللي موجوده على الكونتامينيشن اللي موجود على الفواكه والخضار، من سوء اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد التربه اللي عم بينزرع فيها المحصول. احنا عم بنعاني يوميا من سموم مستمره. في اشياء مو بايدنا نغيرها، صح، زي البيئه مو بايدنا، بس بايدنا وبشد على الكلمه انه نغير شو عم ناكل. اذا في طريقه انه نغير شو عم ناكل فليش لا؟ اذا هو كان اكل اورجانيك ادفع زياده واروح اشتري اكل اورجانيك، اذا هو سبلمنت اورجانيك بمؤسسه ثابته انه منتجاتها منيحه، خلينا نشتري منتجات لصحتنا، لانه اي بني رح تدفعها هلا يمكن ثقيله عليك بس no pain no gain. فاستثمر بصحتك، لانه انت يوميا خليتك عم بتعاني يوميا. وهذا مو كلامي انا، هذا كله كلام الاحصائيات. حطيت لي سلايدات بس عشان اثبت هذا الحكي، فرح امر عنهم سريعا. احنا عندنا نسبه سمنه بالبلد اكثر من 50%، بالمقابل مع انه السمنه موجوده بالاطفال الا انه في under nutrition، يعني سوء تغذيه بالاطفال. فعم بيسوي عندهم شيء اسمه micronutrient deficiencies، يعني ما عندهم فيتامينات، ما عندهم معادن في بجسمهم اللي يرمم الخليه، فالخليه عم تضعف وهو ما عم بيكون صحي، مما يؤثر على تركيزهم، انتاجيتهم. وهذا الحكي بينعكس علينا كمان احنا الكبار. انا عم بحكي بالصغار بس عشان اورجيكم الجيل اللي عم يطلع شو عم بيصير فيه. هذا كله بس عشان احكي عن الاحصائيات. طبعا الدكاتره بابحاثهم، دكاتره عمانيين بابحاثهم كلهم قاعدين عم يحكوا، عم بيشدوا على اذن الوزاره بليز حطي لنا كوست افكتيف بريفنتيف ميجرز، يعني حطي لنا برامج توعويه. اشتغلت الوزاره على البرامج التوعويه، عم تدفع بلاوي بالبرامج، عم تدفع بلاوي بالهاي، ومع ذلك بس عم بيزيد المشكله، بتزيد. لانه لو بتلاحظوا عدد الدكاتره بالبلد قليل كومبيرد للمجتمع، احنا عددنا قليل، فقد ايه بنقدر نغير؟ دكاتره، تغذيه، صيادله، احنا هيك كومبيرد للمجتمع. بس لما اجي اعطي فكره للمجتمع واخليه بايده هو بيقدر يغير، معناته انا شو عم بعمل؟ انا عم بكون سبب اني اوفر على الوزاره مبالغ بتنحط بسبب disease is called lifestyle disease. يعني I can change it. I change my lifestyle. I change the percentage of the disease. أنا بحمي أولادي، بحمي إني، بحمي أبوي، بحمي أهلي. بعدين لما بنوفر على الوزارة بتعطينا بروموشن. يعني فكروا بالموضوع بلاش نترقى. مستاهلة صح؟ دايما ما في. فإذا نفس هاي الحياه، اذا عم نضل نعيش نفس هاي الحياه وعم بتكرر هذا الحكي ب 2035 اللي هو مش بعيد من هلا 2035 اوكي، يعني حنكون موجودين يا جماعه، الله اكرمنا. رح تزيد نسبه الاحصائيات. اذا الميدل ايست هلا عم بيعاني بما يعادل 32 مليون 2013 من سكري، اذا ضلينا هيك ب 2035 رح نعاني بما يعادل 67 مليون. عم نحكي باقل من 15 سنه 20 سنه عم بيزيد 100% نسبه الناس اللي عم بتعاني. يعني بكل بيت رح يكون في مريض. حلو؟ لا. بدنا اياها؟ لا. معناته بدكم تغيروا؟ يس. قد الكلمه؟ عشان تغيروا تحتاجوا دعم، صح؟ صح. جزء من الدعم للتغيير هو الإدراك. أنا هلا وجودي هون كان الإدراك، أدركتوا؟ يس. كمان مرة ما سمعت؟ يس. ناس ثاني؟ يس. فأول خطوة الإدراك. بعد الإدراك بحس بالمسؤولية، لأنه أنا إذا ما غيرت بحالي، وأول تغيير بيبدأ في ذاتي أنا، أوكي، ما رح أقرأ وما رح أتعلم. فلما أنا بدرك وبحس إنه بدأ المشكلة تكون في بيتي، رح أصير بدي أقرأ. لما أصير بدي أقرأ بعرف، لما بعرف بطبق، لما بطبق بتصير عادة. لما بتصير عادة شو بيصير بالمجتمع؟ أوتوماتيكلي بيتغير. قوة التغيير بتيجي أكثر من الفرد ولا من الدكتور والوزارة المسكينة؟ عشان هيك إحنا عندكم اليوم عشان نورجيكم برنامج ممكن يغير لكم حياتكم. طبعاً أنا جاي من باك جراوند دارسة ماسترز كواليتي، فبالكواليتي عندنا إنك تحمل مخاطر كثير أهم من إنك تعالج المشكلة. فإتس كولد ريسك مانجمنت، أوكي؟ أنا هون عشان نحمي تطور المشكلة، مين معي؟ بس؟ ولا حد من قدام؟ صدقتوني، أنت أول ناس بتصيروا في بيتك صاحب قرار. أنت في بيتك صاحب قرار، تغير في بيتك بيطلع جيل، الجيل غير في بيتك بيطلع من بيتك جيل، الجيل بيغير جيل، صح؟ صح! صح ولا صح؟ صح! ترانسفورميشن بروجرام عندنا لساته مولود صغير بيونيسيتي. لحالنا بيونيسيتي دريم تيم ما بنقدر، نحتاج دعم منكم. معنا؟ احنا هون عشان نعلم العالم تبطل تلوم وتشكي، عشان تاخذ كنترول على حياتها، لانه حياتك ملكك، ما حدا مسؤول عن صحتك. هل بتقدر حياتك؟ مش سامع؟ مش سامع؟ So it's time for change يا جماعة. بالكواليتي مانجمنت، بالدراسات تبعت الكواليتي بتقول لك عشان تغير سلوكيات بالمجتمع والفرد بيحتاج دعم، اما واحد يساعده 1 to 1 coaching، لأن التغيير مو سهل بالذات لما تكون مش ببيئة حاضنة للفكرة. والشغلة الثانية إنه بتحتاج بيئة حاضنة لهي الفكرة. بدكم تعرفوا ليش يونيسيتي مهمة تكون موجودة هلا and why we need it now؟ بدكم؟ لأنه إحنا بنساعد الناس to cut down carbs، يعني كيف ينزلوا السكر من حياتهم بدون ما يحسوا بمعاناة. إنه أنا جعبالي شوكولاتة بس مش قادر آكل شوكولاتة. ممنوع آكل شوكولاتة، ممنوع آكل كيك. تخيلوا الألم. أنا طبعاً من الناس اللي بحب الشوكولاتة. تخيلوا الألم لما واحد يقول لك بدك تنحف ما تاكل شوكولاتة، شو بصير فيك؟ لا ما بدي انحف، بدي آكل شوكولاتة. أنا مش مريض، أنا منيح. صح؟ إحنا عندنا أشياء ممكن تساعدك إنك ما تتشهون على أشياء مضرة، لأنها بتشتغل على الكوجنيتيف، يعني بتساعد المخ إنه ما يطلب، لأنها بتنزل انسولين. ما حأحكي هلا بالطب بهاي المجال، اللي حابب يعرف يجينا على السنتر بنعلمه كل شيء. صح؟ الشغلة الثانية، ليه إحنا ممكن نساعد؟ لأنه لما يكون في مجموعة من الشباب مؤمنة بقضيتها، مؤمنة برسالتها، همها الوحيد إنها تغير معناته هدول العالم ما حيوقفوا لو شو ما صار. بدكم تعرفوا مين هدول؟ يونيفرسيتي بزنس اسوسييتس. احنا دريم تيم، اسمنا فريق الاحلام، عباره عن مجموعه من الشباب والصبايا، بغض النظر من اعمارنا كلنا شباب بيونيفرسيتي، صح؟ احنا عم ناخذ مسؤوليه الهيلث تشالنجز، عم نطلع بالعالم، عم نغير افكار، عم نغير وعي، عم نغير حتى طريقه حياه. في عالم ما كانت تعرف شو يعني جيم، هلا عم بتروح على الجيم، رح تشوفوا شو يعني لما تكون في بيئه حاضنه بتساعدك على التغيير. بالانجليزي رح احكيها. So we are dream team, active citizens. We believe and we have a vision that we can save the world. Dream team! كل واحد تعبك لهاي الجلسة، اوكي، بيحب لك الخير وبده اياك حياتك تتحسن، فاشكرهم لهم شكر كثير 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 من قلبي ومن كل حدا موجود. وكيف احنا بنساعد الناس؟ اما 1 to 1 coaching، اما بيدخلوا معنا بالترانسفورميشن بروجرام اللي هو لساته مبتدئ، فنحتاج دعم من الشباب والصبايا، الدكاتره، التغذيه تكونوا معنا. وهاي احد نتائج الاجتماعات اللي بتصير لما يكون في بيئه حاضنه. So we work for a more colorful future. وبنشتغل على تحسين الصحه كامله، روحيه وفكريه وبدنيه. هاي الدريم تيم بالريجن، يعني بس بالدول العربيه. هاي جلوبال تيم كلهم عم يشتغلوا على وان تشالنج اللي هو بالانس ميتابوليزم، بالانس يور لايف. هاي تغييرات، هاي احد قصص النجاح اللي صارت معنا، وفي عنا كثير كثير اكثر. في عنا قصص للصبايا بس ما قدرت احاول صورهم. شباب عنا صاروا يدخلوا بماراثونات. انا هيدا من الفرع زقفه لإله. يعني رح تبكوا وتضحكوا كل شيء يصير، بس هلا ما في وقت نحكيها. بس هيدا من الناس اللي كان سمين وهلا شوفوا ما شاء الله عنه نحف، وغير هيك عم بيكسر ريكوردز لما بيدخل على ماراثون. وهلا هيثم عم نحكوا حذره. سقفوا لهيثم. هاي هيثم. وبختم كلامي. We cannot do it alone. We cannot do it alone. It's a complex. We need collaboration. احنا منا العلم ومنا الدعم وبدنا من الاخصائيين على انهم يساعدونا لما بيجي حدا بيسالهم عن المنتج يقرأوا عنه، ما يمنعوا، وعلى القليله هم يجربوا المنتج عشان هم يغيروا بحياتهم، عشان هم يشوفوا صحتهم واولادهم. فلما تسوي تمكين للمجتمع تعطيه علم خليه يتمكن من الخيارات الصح، بتعطيه علم انه يكون صحته احسن، كاوتكم احسن. وبختم بقول انه احنا بنشتغل وين وين ابروتش، وي كانوت دو ات لحالنا، لازم نشتغل مع بعض. وبالاخر هاي كثير حبيتها لانه كثير عالم بتقول لك انا ما معي مصاري وانا منيح. Your body will be around a lot longer than that expensive handbag. صبايا لكم هاي الشباب الكمة والعمامة والمصر. So make health last. And بدي أختم بفيديو، وهذا الفيديو خليه يضل ذكرى في راسكم. وين الفيديو؟ والحياة ما هي إلا خيارات. So what will your last 10 years look like?
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide. The average Canadian will spend their last 10 years in sickness. Change your future at makehealthlast.ca.
شكرا جزيلا للدكتورة مريم زويلة، نشكرها على معلوماتها القيمة. كلنا على دراية بأن وباء السكري قد أثر على مجتمعاتنا بشكل جدا كبير، والآن سنتعرف أكثر على هذه الظاهرة الصحية. يأتينا الدكتور بنجامين بيكمان، أستاذ مساعد في علم وظائف الأعضاء وعلم الأحياء التنموي من جامعة برغام.
We all know the diabetes epidemic and how badly it has been affecting the region. So now we are about to know more about this issue, coming all the way from the United States. Please welcome Dr. Benjamin Bickman, Assistant Professor of Physiology and Development Biology at Brigham Young University.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be in Oman. What a beautiful country. I was born and raised in Canada, a small little country, never gets this hot. I walked from the airport to the taxi and I got sunburned. Almost. I'm thrilled to be here. Now, why? I was a little surprised when Unicity contacted me. I'm not a Unicity employee. I'm a scientist at a university. My job is to study insulin resistance, diabetes, and obesity. That's what I do all day, all the time. And then I was contacted by Unicity, will you come with us to give a talk? And I thought, yes, in Kuwait, Oman, I've never been there, that would be wonderful. And then I look into the problem, as has already been discussed, and you need to know what I know, a little bit. And so I'm happy to be here to share with you some of what happens when the body is becoming diabetic and what you can do about it. So, the talk, why we get sick, I want to help you understand how insulin resistance is the foundation of most chronic diseases, including diabetes. So, you are medical practitioners to varying degrees. We could look at any number of diseases, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, you name it. And then we can find a bunch of different causes for these same diseases. Lots of different causes for lots of different diseases. And we might have two of these diseases two causes cause one disease. These same two causes may lead to two totally different diseases. And then any other mix of causes for various diseases. Now, why would I, as a scientist, have devoted more than 10 years working to try to understand insulin resistance? It's because insulin resistance is a common cause for almost every non-communicable or non-infectious disease. And we'll talk about that to a little degree. Now, is this a problem in the Middle East? We already know. It matters more in the Middle East than anywhere else on earth. And this is what I didn't appreciate before I came. Now, if we look at the list of countries with the most diabetes, let's just zoom in. And if we look at the first 9 countries, they're all right here. Isn't that amazing? The first 9 countries with the worst diabetes are right here, Middle East, North Africa. It's remarkable. So it's a big problem. And unfortunately, it's only going to get worse. Where we anticipate that in the next 20 years, the amount of diabetes in Middle East, North Africa will double. Unless we do something about it. Now, I've been talking about type 2 diabetes. As you very likely know, type 2 diabetes is a disease of too much glucose and too much insulin. But clinically, we define it as too much glucose. When your blood glucose is too high, bam, type 2 diabetes. However, before the person ever becomes diabetic, they have been insulin resistant. That is the foundation of type 2 diabetes. The reason this is important to know is that you can be insulin resistant when glucose, your blood sugar, blood glucose is still normal. But what isn't normal? Insulin is higher than normal. And so normal glucose, but high insulin. And you know, insulin, one of insulin's main jobs is to lower blood glucose. You eat something very starchy or sugary, like white rice or bread or something, your blood glucose goes really high. And that can be very dangerous. So insulin comes into the blood, and that lowers your blood glucose back to a healthy level. So insulin, if you're insulin resistant, you need lots of insulin in order to keep your glucose normal. And anybody who has type 2 diabetes, all type 2 diabetics are insulin resistant. That's the foundation of the problem. And most people with insulin resistance will develop type 2 diabetes in just a few years, which is why we call insulin resistance pre-diabetes. That's when we want to catch it, before glucose has changed, but we have to start looking at insulin more than glucose. So I want health practitioners, people who want to understand metabolic health and chronic disease, to understand and appreciate insulin resistance. So what is insulin resistance? Now, I'm a scientist. A lot of the experiments we do, we look at insulin and we look at various cells in the body. So here's a cell. They don't all, you can't quite see the color, unfortunately. There's a little circle here. So here's a cell. And insulin has insulin receptors. So it's kind of like someone comes to the door of your house and knocks on the door. That's what insulin does to the cell. It comes to the cell and knocks on the door. And when it does that, something happens. We have an action within the cell. Now with insulin resistance, the cell doesn't respond the same way to insulin like it used to. So the action is diminished. It's not as big, it's not as strong as it was before. And so what does the body do to try to get that response back? It makes more insulin. And then we have more insulin coming to the door and knocking on the door of the cell, if you will. And then we are able to bring that action back. But it's still not quite the same. Things still don't work the same way they did before. So there are two things I would want you to take away from what does insulin resistance mean. What is insulin resistance? One, that the cells don't work the way they used to with regards to insulin. Insulin isn't doing the same thing it used to. And two, the body needs more insulin in order to get the same response. Okay, so what are the causes? If we had more time, I would go through more causes. For example, we could talk about how cigarette smoke and alcohol cause insulin resistance. And that's interesting and it's relevant. But the most important is that insulin itself, the hormone insulin, causes insulin resistance. So if we are living a life, if we're eating food, very starchy, sugary food, that keep our glucose up, that means our insulin is up. And the more insulin is elevated, the more insulin is increased, the more insulin resistant we're becoming. So this is a principle in the body. As insulin is climbing, as a person's eating an unhealthy diet, the sensitivity to insulin starts going down. They become more and more insulin resistant. So what does it matter? Who cares? Why would we care about insulin resistance? And I want to just take a few moments to talk about three big things, the trifecta of negative things that insulin does, how insulin resistance is making us sick, how it affects our body fat in promoting obesity, how it affects heart disease, and how it affects cancer. So firstly, body fat. This is a problem with too much insulin. Now, I mean this is a very bold statement that I have there in that little box. Insulin is the only hormone in the body that can tell a fat cell to get big. Dr. Wafa wonderfully talked about the hormone leptin. The reason, if you don't have enough leptin or leptin isn't working very well, it's because leptin isn't able to lower insulin. And so if leptin doesn't work, insulin climbs up and it makes the fat cells get big. If you want your fat cells to shrink, you have to lower your insulin. It is impossible for a fat cell to get small unless insulin is low. If your insulin is high, forget about it. Your fat cell will get big. There's nothing you can do. It will get big. If insulin is low, the fat cell will get small. So this isn't new. We have known since the mid-1800s. In Western Europe, they knew different foods were doing different things, making the body get fatter or making the body get thinner or shrinking the fat. This is a very old idea. One of my scientific heroes, Wilhelm Falta, he noticed that there was something in the pancreas, the gland right below the stomach. There was something coming from the pancreas that had to be in the blood in order to make the fat cells get big. And of course, that's insulin. Now, let's look at type 1 diabetes. Now, type 1 diabetes is not the type of diabetes that's a big problem in Oman and the Middle East, but it provides a very good example just to help us understand how important insulin is in obesity. So I hope these images aren't too upsetting. This was a young girl, the first little girl in the United States to be treated with insulin. She's a type 1 diabetic. She's eating all the time, but look how skinny she is. That's not healthy, of course. She has no body fat because she has no insulin. This is type 1 diabetes, where the pancreas isn't making. Type 2, you have too much insulin. Type 1, not enough. So she's very, very skinny, very unhealthy. And then what happens? Within 4 months, she starts to get chubby. She gets normal body fat. But she starts eating less. So she eats less, but she gets more body fat. It's all because she now has insulin in her body. Another example, this was an older woman who was type 1 diabetic for a long time. Her knees, that image is right here. So her knees would be down here in the bottom. These are her legs, her thighs, and those are not tumors. She's a type 1 diabetic, so she has to inject insulin in her body every day. And she was only injecting her insulin in these 2 spots. And so all of that insulin from the needle, look what it did to her body fat on her leg. It just made it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it can happen in other places of the body. This man was only injecting his insulin right in his belly, just right here. And normally we tell type 1 diabetics to rotate their insulin sites in their belly, in their rear, their legs, the back of their arm. We do it because we don't want this to happen. And I show you this just to show you how powerful insulin is at telling fat cells to get big. Here's a study in type 2 diabetics, where the physician starts to give the type 2 diabetic insulin. Now remember, a type 2 diabetic already has high insulin. It's already high, but they're very insulin resistant, and so their glucose starts to climb. And then what does the physician do? The physician says you need to start taking insulin injections. And that increases their insulin even more, but that's enough to lower their glucose. But let's look at what happens to these people. At month 0 to month 6. At first, what's happening to the dose of insulin they have to take at each time point? You see what's happening? It's going up. Remember, more insulin causes more insulin resistance. And so they need more insulin every month. If you are addicted, if it's an alcoholic person, in order to get a buzz, in order to get drunk, they need more alcohol than they did before. We don't have a problem like that here, of course, and not where I am either. No, I don't drink. And thank goodness, I don't want to. So insulin, they need more and more insulin every time because they're getting more insulin resistant at every time point. Now what's happening to their body weight? Over this same 6 months, they gain almost 10 kilos of pure fat. That's normal. For type 2 diabetes, when they start taking insulin shots, they gain about 10 to 15 kilos in 6 months. That's very normal because the insulin is pushing the energy into fat cells, making fat cells bigger. Now, last thing to look at, what's happening to how much food they're eating, their caloric intake. It's down almost 300 calories per day at the end. They're eating 300 calories fewer per day than they were at the beginning. But yet they've gained 20 pounds of fat. It's because insulin is making the fat cells grow. Even though they're eating less, insulin is putting that into their fat cells. Okay, that's enough on body fat. Heart disease, I could talk so much about heart disease. When we saw the statistics of heart disease being the most common cause of death in the Middle East, it's because of insulin resistance. If you have heart disease, or someone you know has heart disease, they have insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is connected to heart disease in all kinds of ways. This was a study, they looked at type 2 diabetics who were taking insulin, and the type 2 diabetics who were taking the most insulin were 3 times more likely to have a cardiovascular event, like a heart attack. And so if you're insulin resistant, you are increasing your risk of every type of problem with regards to heart disease. Too high cholesterol, too high triglycerides, blood pressure too high, blood clotting to increase the risk of strokes, the blood gets thick. All of these problems are related to insulin resistance. And there are hundreds, thousands of articles that have been published on this topic over decades, more than I could talk about right now. So the third disease I want to talk about briefly is cancer. Cancer is a very scary disease. It's a very complicated disease. And insulin can make a cancer worse. If we look worldwide at the most common cancers, we see the most common cancer in men worldwide is prostate cancer. The most common cancer in women worldwide is breast cancer. So let's just look for a moment at how those are connected to insulin. Now normally, I had already mentioned, if you're going to get cancer, it's some genetic mutation will be the cause of the cancer. But what we find is that insulin makes the cancer worse. This study, for example, when they took a sample of the tumor from breast tumor, they found that the breast tumor, the cancer tumor, had about 7 times more insulin receptors than the normal tissue. In other words, it was 7 times more responsive. And Dr. Wafa talked about metabolism and catabolism and anabolism. Anabolism is making cells grow. It's putting things together to build it. Insulin wants to tell things to grow. And so you have here the breast cancer tumor. Insulin is telling it to grow better than normal cells. So insulin is pushing the cancer. In cancer cells, they have a preferred fuel source. Imagine, we're all engines. We're kind of complicated cars. We can use normal unleaded gasoline or petrol, or we can use diesel. And we can use glucose for fuel, or we can use fat for fuel in our cells. But cancer cells, they just like to use glucose. That's the fuel. They use glucose 200 times more than normal cells use glucose. That's feeding them. And so when we look at insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes, we have a perfect storm to tell a cancer cell to get big. So we have a lot of insulin, and as I said, insulin tells a cell to grow, and it's telling cancer cells to grow. But then the cancer cell, if we just tell a fire, get big, that's not going to work. What do we need to do to the fire to get it big? We have to give it fuel, right? We have to feed it. We can't just tell it to grow. Insulin is telling it to grow, but then glucose is the fuel for the fire. It is providing the ability. The cell wants to grow because insulin is telling it to, and we're giving it everything it needs to help it grow. So it won't cause the cancer, but insulin can make a cancer worse, especially prostate and breast cancers, and many others, in fact. All right, these are the ones I talked about. I mentioned that insulin resistance is the foundation of type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance promotes body fat, and insulin has to be increased for body fat to grow. There's no exception. Whether it is leptin-related, cortisol-related, brain tumor-related, it doesn't matter. It's always about insulin. We talked a little bit about heart disease and then cancer. And there are so many more that we could talk about. We could talk about how insulin resistance causes fatty liver disease, the most common liver problem in the world. We could talk about how insulin resistance also causes reproductive disorders, like low testosterone in men, or polycystic ovarian syndrome in women. That is the most common form of infertility in women who want to be mommies. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, that's all back to insulin. Insulin is pushing the ovaries to change the way they're making hormones. We could also talk about muscle and joint problems. And then lastly, neurological problems like stroke and dementia. Alzheimer's disease is very much a problem of insulin resistance. Again, all of these. If we had a whole semester, I would be your professor and we would go through all of these things, like I do normally. Another problem are skin problems. There's a problem called acanthosis nigricans, and that is a really obvious sign. These things you cannot see. Oh, body fat you can see. These you cannot see. But the skin problems you can see. If you have a darker skin than normal on your neck or your armpits, that's a sign of insulin resistance. And you can reverse it. As you fix your insulin and you fix your metabolic health, this will start to go away. All right, so how do we make insulin resistance go away? Just in my last few minutes, we need to talk about how do you control insulin. Because if we can change lifestyle to bring insulin down, that gets rid of the insulin resistance. And it either prevents you from ever getting it, or it can help you reverse it if you already have it. Even if you already have type 2 diabetes, you can reverse it and get off insulin, get off your glucose medications. So how can we do it? Lowering insulin. Sorry, I just had to make this move. All right, so how do we keep insulin low? There are 3 key ways, the 3 pillars of keeping insulin low. First one, we need to be smart about the starches that we eat, the carbohydrates. We need to be smart about the type of carbohydrates we're eating. Second, we cannot be afraid of fat. We are so afraid of eating fat because we always hear, you are what you eat. We say that all the time, you are what you eat. That is not true. We are not what we eat, and I will show you some evidence to support it. We need to stop being so afraid of fat. And then lastly, we need to be skipping meals sometimes, fasting, hurry and fast. So let's look at them just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying to not eat any starches. I'm not saying that. I'm saying let's look at whether the starch is good, meaning it has very little effect on insulin, or whether it is bad, meaning it has a really high effect on insulin. On the bad side, we have things like bread or pasta, white rice, or potatoes or sugar, bad. Those are things we need to eat less frequently. And I'm not saying, like Dr. Dan mentioned, I'm not saying never eat sugar again. But put it in its place. Tell yourself, I'm only going to have sugar 1 treat per week. That's what I do. I get 1 treat per week. Usually, I go with my little babies to the ice cream store. We get ice cream. That's what I like the most. That's my 1 treat per week. So you decide what you will do, when you will eat these things, but it cannot be every day. And it cannot be every meal. The good starches are fruits and vegetables. Very, very good. Now, some fruits aren't as good. The sweet, sweet tropical fruits, pineapples, bananas, mangoes, that has to be less than other fruits. We don't want to eat these as much. They increase insulin more. Now, when you think about fruits and vegetables, don't drink them. If God wanted us to drink oranges, we would be able to pull a little bottle of orange juice from the tree and put a straw and drink it. No. We're supposed to get that sweet sugar from the fruit, the fructose, with fiber. So we eat the fruit the way God intended. We don't drink it. So if you have juices or smoothies, no. We are not being good parents. When we want our kids to be happy, sometimes my kids are so naughty and so loud. And I just want to put something in their mouth so they be quiet. Not juice. Maybe an apple if you want to give them fruit, but we cannot give our kids juice. It is very unhealthy. We eat fruit, we don't drink it. Okay, so last one, fiber. Fiber is good. You can get fiber naturally from fruits and vegetables, but you can also take fiber supplements. I just say be careful with the fiber supplement. Back in the US and Canada, the most common fiber supplement, the first ingredient is fiber, but guess what the second ingredient is? Can you guess? Sugar. It's the second ingredient. These people think they drink their fiber and say, well, this tastes really good. But it's because it has sugar as the second ingredient. It's terrible. It's making them sick. So fiber can be good. We just need to make sure that it's from a good source. And there's lots of research to support that. And again, remember, I'm a scientist. If I don't find evidence in what has been published in peer-reviewed journals, I don't care. No opinion for a scientist. I seek truth, not opinion. Okay, so next one. Don't fear the fat. I am a big fan of eating fat. We need to eat the way we used to eat. The way we used to eat in Canada and US. The way you used to eat. The way your grandparents used to eat in Oman. We used to not be so afraid of fatty foods. In fact, we used to consider fatty foods the best, right? We always have, as a people, as a species, human beings. From the very beginning, the fatty meat, that was what we wanted more than anything. We can't be so afraid of these things because they're the things that help insulin stay low. Let's look at that for just a moment. Earlier, they were talking about micronutrients. Micronutrients are things like vitamins and minerals. Macronutrients, these are the things that fuel the body, in particular, fat, carbohydrate, and protein. Here I already have, this is what happens if we give a person pure protein. We see that insulin goes up about 2 to 3 times. It kind of depends on the type of protein. Is it whey or casein or other things like that? But it goes up about 2 or 3 times. Now, if we give a person pure carbohydrate, like pure glucose, we see that insulin then goes up about 12 times over normal levels. That's a huge increase. Now remember, some carbohydrates will have different effects. If you were to eat broccoli, that has very little effect on blood insulin. But if you eat a piece of bread, that has a huge effect on blood insulin, or a bagel, or something like that. Now, lastly, what happens when you give a person pure fat? That's not common. We don't commonly eat pure fat. But sometimes I will make my morning tea, and I will put in a spoon of of coconut oil. And I'll stir the coconut oil, just so I get energy in my body, so I can go work out or do something hard and have energy. But it won't, because it keeps my insulin. Well, let's see what it does to insulin. Let's look. Can you even see what happened? It does nothing. Fat has little to no effect on insulin, so you can take that fat and your insulin just goes like normal. And so if insulin doesn't increase, the fat cells can't get that fuel, so the fat cells just stay normal. But it fuels my muscles, it fuels my bones, it fuels my brain, my nerves. It's good, and of course for everybody. If insulin is low, then the food that we are eating is fueling the rest of the body, not the fat cell. So what kind of fat, if I'm saying don't fear the fat? Fruit fat, very good. As human beings, we've been eating fatty fruits forever. Because all we needed to do, we would take the coconut or the avocado or the olive and we would press it. We would just make a lever and crush it under something, crush it under a stone. And then we have the oil. And we would eat it. We would use it in all sorts of ways. The other types of fat, animal fat, including, and I love being in the Middle East because I love goat cheese. And in the US and Canada, we just don't. If you get it, it's very expensive. But here, every morning, I've had breakfast. I eat my eggs, scrambled eggs, and goat cheese with my scrambled eggs. Anyway, goat cheese, eat it. It's good. So animal fat and fruit fat, human beings were meant to eat these things. Don't be afraid of them. They're good for insulin. Now the last one, hurry and fast. By this, I mean you need to have, these are some examples, and you can look at them there. These are some strategies that I have found based on peer-reviewed literature. It has helped me, and it has helped other people control their insulin and improve their insulin sensitivity. But the key is that we have these periods of time, I also call it time-restricted feeding, where we just aren't bumping up our insulin with food. We give our body a break. Did Ramadan just end recently? Yeah, so this is a wonderful, you know what I'm talking about. There are good things that happen in the body when you just give it a break from food. In my religion, we also fast from time to time, and we believe that it helps us spiritually, and I do, but I think it's because it also just helps our body be better. The body and the spirit both benefit from taking a break, pushing away the plate, and giving yourself a break. Now, what does this look like? If we look at time over a normal day, and we look at what is happening to insulin, in the normal day, in the normal diet, when you're eating all the time, and some people want to eat every 2 hours, that's the worst thing you can do. Because right when insulin wants to start to come back down, we bump it right back up. And then right when it wants to start to come back down 2 hours after the meal, then it comes right back up. And then we eat 2 hours later and it comes right back up. So their whole waking day, insulin is elevated. It's pushing the energy into fat cells, making fat cells big, making us more insulin resistant, increasing cholesterol production from the liver, increasing plaque formation in the brain, affecting hormone production from the ovaries, causing infertility in women. This is bad. We don't want insulin to be high all the time. So what does it look like then if we skip a breakfast from time to time? One recommendation for me, what is good for me with my family, I have little babies, I want to eat with my family. I want to visit with my family. And breakfast is the one meal for me that's the easiest to skip. Because I make breakfast Daddy makes breakfast in my home. I make breakfast for the family, and then I will sit there and I'll drink, maybe that morning I have my tea that morning. I'm not eating the full meal. And my kids don't even notice. We have family, we pray together, we read Bible together, scriptures, and then they're eating, I'm sipping my tea, and then they're naughty, and anyway, my kids are very, very loud. Very loud. Maybe they get that from daddy, I don't know. Okay, now what happens when we skip a breakfast, or maybe dinner? What you can see here, we have lost that big insulin bump, which is good. So when normal food, we have insulin up the whole day. Now we have compressed that window. So the insulin is only elevated for a shorter time of the day. That's good. That's a good thing to do. We need it. All right, this is what we did. We talked about what is insulin resistance, how do we get it, why is it so important, and what we can do about it. And so if you have any questions, you can be writing them down and they'll get sent up here, but now it'll be the Q&A and I'll turn the time over to Dr. Dan. Thank you for listening.
شكرا جزيلا لضيفنا القدير دكتور بنجامين بيكمان.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
أما الآن نعود لنرحب بالدكتور دان دولر لفقرة الأسئلة.
You have written your questions and we have received them. And now we welcome back Dr. Dan Dubler for the Q&A session to answer the questions.
I hope this has been beneficial. Has this been helpful for you tonight? I hope so. I hope that we've shown you that education is power, and here with Unicity we have the tools to help with metabolic health. Now, you've asked me some questions tonight. We're going to answer these, but if you have any questions at all, you can always email our Unicity staff, and we will answer any questions that you have. And there's an email address. It's science@unicity.com. Science@unicity.com. If you use that email address, you can ask us any questions. We answer about 100 questions every week from all around the world. The first question that someone asks is, can we mix BioSlife C with BioSlife S? Or should we drink it separate? Okay? So can we mix them together? You can mix them together, that's fine. But when you look at the data for cholesterol control and glucose control, it would be best, if possible, to take them separately. Okay? You can combine them, but the Unicity Science recommendation is to take them separate. Now, the question is, should I take BioSlife C or BioSlife S if I need to take them separate? Which one? Well, it depends on what your need state is. Depends on what your need state is. Now, what if I want to lose weight? Weight loss is a side effect of bringing our metabolism back into balance. And metabolism can be thrown off of balance by both too much cholesterol and too much sugar. So it depends on factors. So what if I have family history of high cholesterol and my diet is very high in lipids and fats? Which product should I take? C. Very good. Now, what if I have a history in my family of hyperglycemia and diabetes, and my diet is very sugar rich? S. Slim. Yeah. What if I need both? What if I have history of both? Then you take both. You take C for lunch, S for dinner, S for lunch, C for dinner. Switch off. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Next question. Why does Unicity not sell the products to government and Ministry of Health? That's a really good question. That's a really good question. That was a great question, because this person is understanding that BioSlife C and BioSlife S are the best preventative health products in the business, in the industry. You will not find better preventative health products. So why are government organizations not using it? I don't know. They should. They should. Well, actually, we are in talks with a country in the Caribbean, and we're in final talks with the government. The government is thinking of having all of their people that are on government health care take our BioSlife product. We're in final talks with them, and we've been talking with the Ministry of Health there. And we've talked with the Ministry of Health in a country in Southeast Asia about doing this. So there are a couple of countries that we're talking with about doing that. But wouldn't it be amazing for a government healthcare program if they gave this product to people who are suffering from diabetes and these different metabolic diseases? So that's something that we're working on. The next question, what is the future of Unicity in Oman? And how can Unicity improve our health? Well, how can Unicity improve our health? Well, we've seen that we have the best metabolic health programs on the planet. And what is the future of Unicity in Oman? Future of Unicity in Oman is very bright. We have the best leaders, we have the best products, and we have the best system to help maintain metabolic health. And as we've shown tonight, Oman needs our products. Oman needs our science. Oman needs the message that we're bringing. And so the future is very, very bright. We hope that we'll be here for a long time. Okay? And we support the government here, we support the leaders here, we support the people here, and we're going to continue to develop amazing products to maintain metabolic health. Okay? This question asks, can we use these products, BioSlife C and BioSlife S, for cancer patients? And then the question goes on to say that this person's mother has breast cancer, and we feel terrible about that. But the question is, can we give these products to people with cancer? And I want to extend this further. Can we give our products to people who have had stroke, who have Alzheimer's, who have epilepsy, who have etc., etc.? Can we give our products to these people? Here at Unicity Science, we follow the guidance of government agencies, of Food and Drug Administration, FDA, which says that anybody with a pre-existing medical condition should consult with their doctor before taking any nutritional supplement. We support that. Because here at Unicity Science, we're scientists. We're hardcore metabolic health scientists. We design the best products on the planet to maintain human metabolic health. We are not medical doctors. We don't prescribe drugs. We don't see patients. Okay, so when someone says, can we give our product to someone who has cancer? What type of cancer? How long have they had the cancer? I don't know their medical chart. Who knows that? A doctor. So a medical doctor, they know the patient history from the time they were this high. They know what medications they're taking. They know what type of cancer they have. They know if they're going through chemotherapy. They know all of these details. So the medical physician is in the best position to give individualized advice. Okay? So, people who want to take one of our products, what we recommend they do is they go to their medical doctor and they say, hey, doctor, you know I have cancer, right? And I show them BioSlife C. And I say, doctor, is it okay if I take, look at the ingredient list, fiber. Is that okay for my condition? Vitamins and minerals, phytosterols, chrysanthemum. Is that okay? And what you'll find is when you talk with doctors, most of these things are just fine, right? Is it okay for these different things to take vitamins and minerals? Yeah. Fiber? Yeah. Phytosterols? Yeah. But we need to talk to our doctor. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Could BioSlife Slim or BioSlife C be used for children over 12 years old? And the answer is yes. Yes. 12 years old, they can use BioSlife C or BioSlife Slim. Younger than that, we would have them work with their medical doctor. Okay, but taking half a dose or whatnot should be fine. But again, children, products for children should be consulting your doctor. Now, what about pregnant or nursing women? Can they take our products? You should consult with your doctor. And that is because when a woman is pregnant, her physiology changes dramatically, very different. And some women become diabetic, right? There's lots of things that happen when a woman is pregnant and nursing. And it changes from pregnancy to pregnancy. It can be different for every child. So, is it okay for a pregnant woman to take fiber? Yeah. Vitamins and minerals? Yeah, no problem. But, again, we don't know the specific conditions. So, the woman should go to their OBGYN doctor and say, I'm pregnant, doctor, so can I take fiber? And what will they most likely say? Yes, of course. Can I take vitamins and minerals? Yes, of course. Can I take phytosterols, compounds from fruits and vegetables? Yeah, no problem. Okay? Okay, of all the studies done on our Unicity products, is there any side effects noticed? So BioSlife C, BioSlife S, are there any side effects noticed? Yes, there are side effects. Get ready for the side effects. Weight loss. That's a side effect. Bring our metabolism back into balance. Another side effect. Total cholesterol, down. LDL, down. Triglycerides, down. HDL, up. Fasting blood glucose, down. HbA1c, down. Those are side effects of bringing our metabolism back into balance. Okay? Now, there might be some initial discomfort in taking large amounts of fiber, right? So this is a fiber product. These are fiber products. And so there might be some constipation or some digestive discomfort at the first few days of using this product. That's because this is a hardcore product. And most people are not used to taking good amounts of fiber. Mother Nature wants us to take fiber. We need to take fiber. But in the modern processed diet, fiber's been taken out. So when we take BioSlife, there might be an adjustment period to work into taking this product. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. This question says, if a person reaches their goals, their weight loss goals, do they need to continue taking these products? So let's say I have high cholesterol and I take BioSlife C, and after 90 days, like we see in this study, oh, my cholesterol is normal again. So what does that mean? Does that mean that BioSlife C I should just throw away? Get rid of it. I don't need to take it anymore. Are we good? No. We should take this product, you should take this product every single day for the rest of your life. This is a metabolic health product. It's your metabolic health insurance. Okay? Product that you should take every single day for the rest of your life. So the fact that you're seeing great results when you take this product is a manifestation that you need to continue to take the product. Okay, let's see here. That is all the questions that I have here. And we have a few more. Okay. Okay, this question I was just handed says that we've seen a new product, BioSlife C+. What's the difference between this and BioSlife C? Yeah, so we have developed a new product. It's called BioSlife C+. We're selling it in a bunch of different markets. It might be available here in Oman soon. You'll have to ask the Oman sales team here. I'm just a geeky scientist. I don't make important decisions like that. But, just kidding. But BioSlife C+, we've modified the fiber matrix a little bit. We have a lot more oat fiber in BioSlife C+. And oat fiber is beneficial for heart health, cardio health, and it has good blood lipid regulating activities. Okay, so it's just a slight revision of BioSlife C. But BioSlife C in and of itself, you've seen the clinical studies, amazing product. Okay, let me look here. Okay, so this question says, could you please explain once again about breakfast? Is it okay to have breakfast or to skip breakfast? Okay, so Dr. Bickman, who needed to leave to catch his flight back home, he talked about intermittent fasting, right? And fasting once in a while in order to lower and maintain healthy insulin levels. Okay, so that's a healthy thing to do once in a while. Breakfast is a good meal, but we have to be careful about breakfast because most breakfast foods are very rich in what? Sugars and carbohydrates. Okay, you look at the normal things that people eat for breakfast when it comes to cereals and bagels and orange juice and those sorts of things. Very high in carbohydrates. So we need to be careful with our breakfast. Okay? Okay, this question says, if starting on unicity, should one stop taking their medical prescriptions? Oh, so if I'm joining the unicity business and I want to take BioSlife C and BioSlife S, but I have medications that I'm on, should I grab those medications and throw them in the garbage? No. You should still be taking those medications, but you should work with your medical doctor. And in relation to BioSlife C and BioSlife Slim, we have seen some cases where people who are on metformin and and statins and other pharmaceutical drugs, they have been able to go off of these drugs eventually, but they work closely with their doctor. They take these products and the doctor says, whoa, we take a blood test. What have you been doing? Wow, I see your cholesterol levels, your glucose levels are a lot better. And the people say, well, I've been taking this product. And they say, wow, that's great. And they come in again 3 months later and they say, the doctor says, whoa, you're still doing great. Wow. These drugs have statin drugs and whatnot, they have side effects. So I wonder, what if we can let's try lowering your medication a little bit. And so you do. And then they come in a few months later and say, whoa, you're still doing really good. What if we try to lower it a little bit? And that happens little by little, working closely with your medical doctor. People can go off these drugs. But again, medical doctor, crucial. Is our products FDA approved? All of the products, all of the ingredients that we use in all of our products have GRAS approval by the FDA, which means they're generally recognized as safe, which is the highest approval that the FDA gives in nutritional supplements. So the FDA, government organizations, they have different rules for pharmaceutical versus nutraceutical drugs. We use all of the regulations, all the guidelines for formulating, producing, and testing our products as they do in pharmaceutical companies. We run clinical studies, as you've seen, on our products. Do we have to do that? No, we don't. In selling a nutritional supplement, you do not have to provide clinical studies. But we are a science-based company. We run clinical studies on every single product we develop. Okay, we are running out of time here. These questions that that I'm not able to answer all of them due to the time, we will answer them through email. Okay? Okay, so they're talking, this question asks about what types of sweeteners do we use in our products. And in some of our products, we use stevia, we use sucralose. Sucralose is a wonderful sweetener, has great science behind it. It's a preferred sweetener for diabetics, actually. Has no impact on glucose. We also use fructose in small amounts. Fructose is the fruit form of sugar. So there's different forms: fructose, sucrose, galactose. We use fructose. But all of our products, very low on the glycemic index. Now you might ask, why do we add any sugar? So we add a little bit of sugar to some products. Why add sugar? It has to taste at least somewhat good, right? Compliance. We're all about compliance. You could have the best product in the world, but if it tastes unbearably nasty, people aren't going to take it. So we need to compromise a little bit, and once in a while that means we add a little teeny amount of a sweetener. Okay, so we are out of time. The rest of the questions we will answer. Thank you so much.
شكرا دكتور دان على هذه فقرة الأسئلة المثرية جدا. والآن نأتي إلى ختام يومنا. في نهاية يومنا هذا نتمنى أن بالفعل أوفينا بوعدنا وقدمنا لكم الكثير من المعلومات القوية والرائعة والمفيدة لكم ولجميع أفراد المجتمع. ونتمنى بأنكم قضيتم وقتا ممتع معنا، ونشكر لكم حضوركم ونلقاكم بإذن الله في فعاليات أخرى. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much for being with us today. We hope we have promised and delivered our promise and you enjoyed all these valuable information. We hopefully can participate in making the community better, starting with our own lives. Right, all right? Thank you very much for being here.